said. 5500. 31. Rotate.
What is going on, guys? Welcome into the channel. Welcome to the stream today. Pete Monitor, good to see you, sir. Wojtek, CYVR, Carda, Christian, Adrian, Ayansku, welcome, sir. Chris Run, good to see you, man. Hope you are well. Rand Cooley, good to see you. Many more members in chat. Guys, what is going on? Welcome into the stream. I'm hoping we can complete this one as planned. There is a possibility I may have to cut it short, but hopefully that won't be the case today. We got a pretty interesting flight going on for us today right now. We have the latest news. I'm sure everybody's heard by now. Frontier and Spirit Airlines are merging. There are a lot of opinions out there. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of incorrect information. And as someone who is in the airline industry and as someone who is impacted by acquisitions and mergers such as this, I'm going to try to shed some light on that. And hopefully you guys will have a better understanding of what's to come for you as a passenger and what are you going to be looking for when you go to book your next flight and what airline's going to survive and all that good stuff. So we got plenty of stuff to talk about. That's why our cruise time today is a little bit longer. It should be about an hour, 45 minutes or so once we get airborne. That'll give us some time to discuss all of that, all the good, juicy details. And of course, we can look at some CFM appreciation time here. We got the chevrons. Thank you, Max Rank, for getting that the chevrons on there. Orlando Mitch had the original paint job. Then Max Rank went ahead and got the chevrons on there. So we're looking good. We're in the 321 CFM with BSS sound packs. Shout out again, Jeremy Harvey, for the music, countdown music. Absolutely fantastic, sir. Appreciate it. Gets me hyped every single time. So let's go ahead and quiet this down here and let's get this show on the road, shall we? I love the 701 Fox Romeo here. I think this is the Owl. Can't remember which one it is. can't remember what the name of this one is, but nevertheless, let's go ahead and hop into the cockpit, guys. We are cold and dark. Looks like we've got some traffic out here tonight. Like we got a couple of Deltas, we got Frontier flights. Looking good. Looks like there's a Frontier flight off my right-hand side. Is that true? It sure is. Look at that. 319 CFM's over there. Absolutely beautiful. Gino, what's going on, man? With you too, sir. Glad to have you on board, man. Let's go ahead and get this airplane fired up here. We'll go through the cold and dark startup sequence as usual. We are real-time, real weather today, so it should be midday. Should be pretty good. Looking for 25.6 on the voltages. That is good. Battery 1, battery 2. Ooh, my sound seemed awfully low. Let me do some adjusting here. We'll bring that up to about, let's say 90 and 45. That should be good. Let's go ahead and get the ground power connected. Sounds like a VATSIM aircraft is a little bit louder. All right, there we go. That is online. While that boots up, let's go ahead and turn our screens on here. Let the airplane come to life. You'll hear those blowers go into the self-test there. Very nicely done. That airplane noise you hear outside is actually from the VATSIM Velocity client, so pretty nice, pretty nice. I mean, could use some work, but overall it's much more enjoyable having having player aircraft models with sounds in them. So pretty nice. I think that might even be that. Who's running engines right now? It's got to be this. He doesn't even have a beacon on. Who's got an engine on right now? It's got to be the CFM guy. It's got to be this guy right here. Good afternoon, K6. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Howdy, Al W, DFW in the house, man. It's a beautiful day here in DFW. I was contemplating going fishing today, but I said, you know what? I got to come do a stream here for all you guys. I can go fishing later. So, all right, airplane is alive. Let's go ahead and go up the overhead here. Crew supply on, ground control on, CVR test. Thank you, Toliss. Apparently now the volume knobs work with VATSIM. So can I turn down... Okay, so the volume knob works, but I don't think I can turn down his AI sound, because if I turn X-Pilot down, that AI engine sound is still on there. Maybe it's because we have the doors open. I don't know. Anyway, we've got the CVR test done. Let's go ahead. It's 1, 2, 3. That is coming on. I'm going to go status position 1 just to check it out. There goes the battery light. That is off. We're going to go auto. I'm flying nav position 1. Seatbelts off. No smoking auto. Arm the emergency exit lights. Brighten up that overhead just a little bit here. Everything else looks good. Fuel pumps can stay off. And engine fire test 1. Engine fire test 2. Apu. Christian, yeah, the voices work. I do remember messing with the volume and the voices on the radio panel, and it does indeed work. I can confirm that, so it's pretty neat to see that. All right, VHF-1, that is tuned. Everything else looks good. And maintenance panel is checked. Down the captain's side here, we'll get we have proper air rack, CFM 56 5B3 motors on here today. Radio stack is on, off and off. Parking brake is set. We'll go ahead and turn this on for VATSIM. Actually, you're still at the gate. I'm going to just turn it on once we push. We'll go ahead and turn on the second radio. Pretty much ready to go. Let me just do a quick electrical check here since we are doing a full crew swap. That's something I always don't do here on the stream, but it's modeled nicely now on the Toliss. Let's go ahead and go battery 1, battery 2 on. Should have less than 60 amps. Decreasing. Perfect. That's that discharge there. Perfect. So our batteries are working. Let's go ahead and check the engine compartments. We have 17.5 and 18.0 on the oil. That is good. I'm going to check the pressurization page. Make sure this says landing elevation and auto. Beautiful. And of course hydraulics. We are over serviced on all 3 systems. Just what I like to see. Oh, I can hear an announcement up here almost. Thought I could hear an announcement. 2201 is current, Christian. I don't have the proper air rack. Oh boy. Oh well. We're going to survive. Let's go ahead and start getting the airplane ready for our flight over to Portland. Because yes, I know a lot of you guys have lots of questions about the merger. We got a lot to talk about, but it should be, let's see, what do we got here for time en route? I think it's like an hour 30. Yeah, we got an hour 34 en route today, so we got plenty of time to talk about it. I'm always about getting the airplane set up, getting ready to get off the gate before we sit down and chat. So here we go. Let's initialize the aircraft here. We're going to go from Salt Lake City to PDX. I love flying into Portland. It's been a long time since I've been up there in real life and in the sim, so just go ahead and hit a line there. We're operating this as Frontier Flight 357. Is there a link to these engine textures? The textures? I don't have a link to the textures. The link to the engines is exclamation point engines, but as far as the textures go, I do not have a link. It was in the Discord. Max Rank posted them last minute there. He got the chevrons on this one. So if you're check out the Discord, Orlando Mitch painted them, and then Max Rank just did a recent update to get the chevrons on there, because this aircraft does have chevrons in real life. I believe it was their first one with chevrons. All right, our top altitude 340 minus 60. It's minus 7. So here we go. This is one of those situations where Carda, I just saw you said you'll meet me in Portland coming from Vegas, going to test those detents. Carda, I think I have them in my mailbox. My wife sent me a picture of the mail. I think I got the package today. So there's going to be some special detents coming for the Bravo. I'm going to show you guys hopefully on the next stream about the Bravo throttle quadrant here. But Carda already got his, the lucky guy. So hopefully they work out good for you, Carda. All right, so here's our minus 7. Now, I always adjust the cruise flight level to the actual temp, but if it's colder than standard, I don't touch it, because going colder than standard, that just takes away, that just adds, I guess, a conservative value that you don't really need it. I always like to be more conservative than less conservative. So if I were to make the temperature actually colder, what the real outside air temperature is, I'm going to have a more accurate fuel burn, but I'd rather have a less conservative fuel burn so I have a little bit more to play with, if that makes sense. So I only adjust this if it's a positive temperature deviation. So now that it says minus, we're just going to leave it at negative 52. Not a big difference, in a short flight like this, hour 34, it's not going to make too much of a difference. Now, if you're doing long haul stuff, 10 plus hours, then absolutely you might need to be adjusting that to make a proper performance calculations. But anyway, here we go. Let's get the flight plan set up here. We're going to do our flight plan off the Seagull 1. What airport are we departing? I was sitting here waiting for the stream to go down. I forgot to get all my charts out. I normally like to pull these out here before we get the stream started, but none shall pass. This is your hometown. Awesome. Excuse me. Awesome, man. My wife brought me some coffee, and I don't know where she got it, and it's extremely sweet, and it's making my mouth like, I don't know, almost cottony. Hopefully I can have some water here, but all right, we're going to be departing off of 34 right, I believe, right? Let me check the active sky weather. Yeah, variable at 3. So let's just blast out of here. 34 right for departure, and we're going to be on the Seagull 1. Just confirm. Yes, Seagull 1 departure, and that's out to Tango Whiskey Foxtrot. We'll insert that. From there, we're going to go direct to Alcal, A-L-K-A-L. That is set. Then IMB, that is set. I want the closest one, please, not the one 4,000 miles away. IMB is set, and then Jotba. So I took this route because it's a little bit closer to my orbit. There's a little section we're going to go over where I don't have any, what is it called, ortho, but we should be all right. The Hood 4 into Portland. I want to land on, now this is what's interesting. In Portland, the weather was Cat 3, is quarter mile mist, overcast at 200. I'm hoping it stays this way. If it doesn't, what we can always do is we can rewind the weather, because I actually want to do a quarter mile mist landing. I think that'll be pretty fun. So right now the winds, however, where are they? They got to be pretty light and variable. Yeah, 0 for 0 on the winds at Portland. So 1-0 right is kind of what they have in the box. Let's go ahead and just throw that in there. Let's throw 1-0 right in the box on the Hood 4. And we're not going from Scapo, but we are going to come from the Jotba. Is that here? Jorad, there's Jotba. Insert that. Now we got a full-blown flight plan in the box. That looks good. 592 miles. Cool. Secondary, we do have failures on. Let me just confirm that they are still set. Yes, they are. I've got it down to about 55 because this is my newer 321. So here we go. Let's do a quick air return. Where can I see your specs? Exclamation point specs. KSLC, KSLC. What does the aircraft do with wind data you give it? If you already programmed the route, it's not as size of, it's for fuel calculation mostly. and for some of your VNAV, but your biggest consumption, your wind data is what you want for your fuel consumption, accurate fuel numbers. That's your biggest, that's the biggest factor when it comes to that. All right, if we pop one off 3-4 right, we're going to come right back around to 3-4 right here. ILS, no star, secondary perf. I'm going to load up here at 200 on the DH. We got 0 wind here. It's pretty calm. Temperature off the ECAM is 4. Ooh, a little bit chilly out here today. And the QNH was stated to be 3050. Good grief. That's some high pressure out here today. It's giving me a headache already. 3050 and the QNH is set in the secondary. RadNav, nothing to hard tune. And NIT B, what do we got here? So, let's go back one. Our fuel required today, gate fuel, 19.8. We got 3 hours of gas on board. So, let's pull up the Toliss ISCS. Let's load this sucker up. We're going to take a full load, 220 people. We need 19.8, let's call it 20, is on board. Quick refuel. Fully loaded 321. Let's add 4,000 pounds of cargo up front. A little bit of aft cargo to balance her out. I like the looks of that. We'll apply and apply. So that gives us a 160.6 on the 0 fuel weight with a CG of 26.6. All right, block fuel, we should have 20.0 on board. Things are starting to look up. We do have an alternate, however. Let me throw that in there. Our alternate is Seattle. So let me come back to the initialization. Let's get this in here. Then we can take a look at our gas. Our gas numbers. Fuel prediction page, 39 minutes extra with our alternate. Perfect. You deserve some accolades. Really appreciate you taking the time for these vids. I learned a great deal about MSP to any. What about MSP to anywhere sometime? Thank you for the compliment there, man. I appreciate it. MSP, yeah, we should be flying up the MSP. The only reason I haven't gone into MSP lately is I don't really have any ortho up there yet, you know? I'm kind of waiting for X-Plane 12 to really do an ortho overhaul. We got to adjust this here. So our alternate gas, look, this is where you can get screwed here. So we need 3.9. I'm going to just make that an even 4.0 on the alternate gas requirement. So if I change that to 4.0, now we're starting to cut down our extra. We only got about 24 minutes of extra gas. That's plenty for a go-around. Maybe we need to do a go-around or we have to set hold for a Cat 3, but that is something you always want to make sure you get in there. Final fuel, 2.7 is pretty low. Honestly, I'm actually going to change that to 3.5. All right, so now you could really see they aren't giving us a lot of gas today here at Frontier Airlines. We're pinching pennies for the merger here, so we only got about 15 minutes of extra gas, 180,000 pounds takeoff weight. That looks good. All right, let's verify it is on board and balanced. It is 10,000 aside. Looks like we got an ACT. Let's go ahead and get our fuel pumps on. We'll get the APU fired up. Seatbelts can come on now. On and auto, those are armed. We'll prime you. Vidic, what's going on, man? Welcome. Hope you're doing your 320 rating of 5 months. This is helpful. Awesome, man. Absolutely. Welcome aboard. There was a couple good questions in the chat. I missed them there when I was going. Non-channel, he says, funny story, in 2000, I used to work for a fueling company at Salt Lake. I would fuel the Frontier Airbus that was there each day. The airplane was scary. Maintenance was very much needed on it. Man. All right, flap open. Let's go ahead and fire it up. Take a listen. At what speed and altitude is the extra time calculated? Believe it's at green dot still air, I think. 1,000 feet above field, something like that. It's not it's not as conservative as you would think. Is the flight factor 320 really FPS heavy? Yes, it is and it isn't. I think the flight factor, you really need a lot of RAM. I seem to have been able to run the flight factor pretty good even on my old GPU with a 970. I'm running a 1070 now, but for some reason that airplane takes a lot of RAM. I don't know what it is. I got a lot of RAM on my rig and it seems to run it okay, but it is significantly heavier on frames than the Toliss. Absolutely. All right, APU is on. We'll go ahead and get the chrono on. Let's go ahead and disconnect the ground power. And we'll pull chocks as well. And you know what? Let's go ahead and start closing up some of the doors. We won't close them all. Let's go ahead and close these up. Look at those beautiful engines. What's the plugin for ground ops? For ground ops? Oh, it's a jar design ground handling. Shaquille Oatmeal, what's going on, man? Good to see you, dude. I saw your landing on LaGuardia the other day. Nicely done, sir. Nicely done. He says Frontier is squeezing the quarter so hard the eagle screams. Good grief, Shaq. Oh, man. You always bring the laughs, dude. I love it. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing well. Max Rank, I think you made an error on the spinner here. The spinner looks a little interesting. We shall see, though. Alright, those are closed up. We can go ahead and close everything but the 1L door. And let's go ahead and get rid of the ground handling. They can just go away. Why is my airplane shaking left and right? It's making me a little bit nervous. Alright, 3050 is the meter. Let's dial that in here. 3050 is set. Once, twice. Well, it was. Alright, 3051, close enough. And that's synced, so that's good. No ATC online, so let's dial it up to our cruise altitude of 340. I don't like how my airplane is shaking. 340, let me put Salt Lake City in here. Earthquake. Mine's been shaking lately too. Russ, I wonder what's going on with that. Do you guys see that? Like if I zoom in on something stationary. See how it's moving? There's 0 wind, so I don't know what's going on with that. I'm hoping everything will be fine once we get off the gate. Alright, I'm going to leave this on the init B page. Phantom 320 will have his up on the perf page, reminding me that, you know what? We actually need to put in perf numbers. Let's do that right now. We're going to do a flaps 2. You know, let's do a flaps 3 Toga. We're going northbound. We're going to do a flaps 3 Toga today. 136, 136, 139. 18 is the transition altitude, no flex, flaps 3. And I don't know what Frontier, if they run the FMS 2 or not, but we're going to go ahead and dial in our trim setting here of up 0.2 for Frontier ops. So that's good. 3 up, 0.2. Thrust reduction 5750. 36, 36, 39, packs off. So we make sure to shut the packs off. What do we got going on here? Nav, out, baro, ref, distance degree. Okay, 3050. Are you not synced up? Why are you not synced up? 3050 is synced up on both sides. I'm going to change that in the settings here. Sync baro, please. Thank you. Cool. I think we're about ready to get out of here. There's our 3 minutes. Let's go ahead and turn the APU bleed on. You'll hear the air come on. Shaquille Oatmeal. What's going on, man? Thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that. He says, Cabin crew said $5 for crew gets new 2022 charts for this flight. Put the penny in the gas tank. Shaq, thank you so much, man, for that super chat. That's hilarious. Yes, we need new 2022 charts for this flight. This isn't a bourbon flight. We're not doing circa 2009 moonshots anymore. I know you guys were giving me a lot of grief from my Pero Bhutan charts that I had on the Phantom stream, but oh man, that's hilarious. Thanks, Shaq. Thank you for the support, man. Guys, check out Shaq Oatmeal. He's been streaming quite a bit. I've been seeing him post in the Discord and the live stream stuff as well. So I do love your content, man. Thanks again for supporting the channel. All right, we'll go ahead and reset the chrono. I think we're about ready to go. Are you guys ready to go? I'm ready. Let's do one last thing here. Let's review our departure. My honeycomb yoke is not playing nice for the buttons today. Let's take a look at this. Make sure we got nothing special here on the Seagull. And we should be on 22.8 as well for Vatson. Radio check, 22.8. All right, here we go. So it's basically a vector departure off of 3-4, climbing left turn on a heading between 320 counterclockwise to 260 as assigned by ATC. So we'll give ourselves a heading out of here. Matter of fact, it looks like it's just having us nav up, is it? Yeah, it's just got, we'll just fly a nav heading, or we'll just go heading. Up to 2-3, no ATC, that's up to 3-4, we're good there. Nothing special, no restrictions. Right out over the lake. Should be a beautiful departure. Alright, nobody's got any questions. Let's go ahead and close the door and get out of here. Doors are closed. Lock it up.
So we close at the main cabin door and be on our way to Chicago. If you plan to use a mobile device during flight, now is a good time to
If toggle the park brake off and on, it will stop shaking. Oh, thanks. I'm going to try that here in a minute. We're just about ready to push anyway.
with your seatbelts fastened, tray tables in their upright and locked position, your camera and items stowed and all armors fully lowered. This is flight 478 taking you to Chicago. 2 hours and 53 minutes of flight time. Good morning, welcome aboard.
Well, we're not going to Chicago, but hey, close enough. All right. Windows, doors, and slides there. Closing arm. The beacon. It is on. Thrust levers idle. Parking brake. I'm going to go off and then back on. Look at that. It stopped shaking. Thank you for that. All right. Transponder TARA. We are good to go. 4-star checklist is complete. Essentially, we skipped some steps there, but let's get out of here.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Let me just take a look, make sure no one's behind us. No one's not. We're off Bravo 8, tail in the alley. Salt Lake traffic, Frontier flight 357, pushing Bravo 8, tail in the alley, Salt Lake. Wait, are we serving cookies on board? If not, better open that door again. Oh, we got the cookies on board. We got the cookies. Don't worry, man. Spliff Jam, what's up? Greetings. Good to see you here, bud. Just noticed I left my Lufthansa internal paint on next to the fan wrap yellow band. On this livery, Max? This one here? Is that what that is? Is that from Lufthansa? Hey, it looks alright to me. Let's get out of here. How's our sound? How are the sounds for you guys? I feel like it's quiet, but no one's really complaining. Our sound's good?
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Alright, he's going to connect. We're going to wait till we're pushed in the alley because I want to get a full startup effect here with no talking. So, strobes are on. They're in the auto position. Oh my word, they are actually on. Look at that. I hit the strobe instead of the beacon. Thank you for that. Hashtag fake pilot. Cookies, what is this, FBO? Dude, Frontier served cookies. Do they? I haven't been on Frontier in years, so if someone has flown on Frontier recently, do they still serve cookies? Because they used to. I remember they used to, what are they, like oatmeal chocolate chip cookies? I think they were oatmeal chocolate chip. Maybe they had a couple different ones, but man, they were good. They were really, really good.
Tow connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Roger. I was hoping for some in-flight donuts. Paul, we might have to pull some of those out here during the merger. All right, brakes are released. Clear to push, sir.
Starting pushback. And you may start.
Did I get my IFR clearance? There's no nearby ATC, so we don't have to call anybody. Flight with realism. There's no ATC online, but I can read it back to you. Frontier flight 357 cleared to Portland Airport as filed. Climb maintain 340. Departure frequency is 22.8. Squawk 2000. Frontier flight 357 cleared to Portland Airport as filed. 340 200 on squawk 22.8. There you go. Scott coming in with the bank angle check. I don't know. That sounds like gunshots in the office. Pretty sure that's not gunshots. I hope it's not. Scott, thank you so much for the $25 dono, man. I appreciate that. $25 bank angle checks in chat. And he says, thanks so much for the great content, Scott. I appreciate your support, man. I really, truly do. You guys drive the channel. You drive the content. You motivate me to continue to push out content. And the reception is always so well received. And when you guys donate, support channel, subscribe, all that good stuff, it really does make a difference. And I appreciate all of you. I know sometimes, every now and then, I'll miss a dono or I miss a subscribe or whatever it may be. And it's not that no dono is too small or too big. It's just sometimes I get caught up in the stream and I miss it. But I just want to take this time now that just let you guys know I appreciate all of you, whether you donated in the past or you subscribed or you hit the like button. So shout out to all you guys in chat. Thank you. Bryson, we are on VATSIM today. Kid named Kenny, what's going on, man? Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen you around. Welcome. Fist 007, welcome, man. 321 simmers are very welcome here, man. We're all 321 simmers today. This is X-Plane 11. And this is the engine mod. This is the Carda CFM engine mod, exclamation point engines, if you want to pick up these bad boys. These are next level CFM motors. I'm a huge fan of the IAE. I love IAE. I still think IAE is a superior motor in my personal opinion. However, the 321 with these CFMs, with these little chevrons, looks freaking good. It looks sweet. Mickey G, I agree. Bank angle check never gets old. Engine mod, I haven't even noticed it affect FPS at all.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Brake set, clear or disconnect. We're starting one.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Alright, are you guys ready for engine start? Engine mode to ignition start. We have bleed pressure. I'm going to go ahead and turn up the sounds for engine start. I'm going to stop talking so you guys can enjoy the startup. Here we go.
Hose disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
BEA, a beautiful startup there. We're going to go ahead and start up two engines because it's cold and this airplane's been sitting for greater than 3 or 4 hours, so we're ready to go. William, or Will Hartzell, thank you. Welcome to Private Pilot, sir. Exclamation point, welcome for your new perks on the channel. Glad to have you on board. Jeremy says, thanks for helping me graduate with my master's degree because I used the music for the channel. In my thesis, I had a 4.0. Jeremy, Harvey, well, congratulations to you, sir. Very well deserved. Jeremy, again, shout out to him. He has created all the sounds on this channel, the dono sounds, other than the bank angle check. I updated that recently. But all the countdown music, he's made different theme songs for our Concorde, our 7K, our 10K, our 20K sub, our Asia Pacific tour. So Jeremy Harvey has been instrumental to the sounds on this channel, and thank you, sir, and congratulations on your graduation. Very awesome to hear that, man. Let's go ahead and enjoy some more sounds here. Engine 2 firing off. Here we go. All right, we got two good starts. There's our Avail light. Chrono is on. Let's do it after start. That comes off. You go to the arm position. And flaps are going to come to position 3. So we're going to go like this. It's a long way down there. Beautiful. Flaps 3 yoga. We're going to do packs off, so we're going to leave the APU on for now because that'll take care of the packs with the APU bleed on. So that's going to stay on. Although we're kind of tight on gas, so let's just go ahead and do it the old school way because I want to save as much gas as we can here. We got 2 good starts. That's off, that's off, that's off. Flaps are 3. Are you guys ready? Let's go ahead and turn taxi light on. Clear left, clear right, brakes released. Cinematic taxi by right now. Wow, we're actually pretty heavy. We are actually pretty heavy on the taxi out here. Let's see, we're going to be going to 34 right via... What's that, hotel? Salt Lake traffic, Frontier 357, taxi on 34 right via hotel, Salt Lake. Vikas, thank you for the 9-month subscription. Thanks for inspiring me to fly in real life. Well, congratulations, Vikas. Glad you're flying in real life, man. I love it. I love all the inspiration stories. A lot of you guys that are... there's a Delta back there. Looks like he's pushing. A lot of you guys that are in the Discord and you post your progress of your stage checks and your check rides. I love it. It's so awesome to see. I never really imagined, I never set out when I started this channel that it would kind of become what it has become. And the Discord in particular, I mean, we've got a lot of certified pilots in there now, but just being able to follow everybody's progress from, you know, when the channel first started, a lot of you guys weren't even flying yet. And then you started your journey, and, you know, like Captain Tom in particular, he's got his PPL now. A couple of you have done your solos. So it's just really cool. It's a really cool aviation community we got brewing here on the V1 channel and our Discord. So I'm loving it. All right, we are clear right. Let's go ahead and come around the bend here. And we're going to have to get ready for the takeoff and landing cam pretty soon. Although there's not much to see except my stick, because I'm still waiting on a tiller. I'm going to have to, I'm doing some research right now trying to find a tiller option. But let's go ahead and enjoy. Ooh, what did I just do? I love doing the spool up here. My setting for field of view? That I do not know. I thought there was traffic in front of us, but I don't see him now. Bank angle check.
It's Berto. Good day, sir.
Berto, what is up, man? Thank you for the $5 dono, man. Bank angle check. Good to see you, sir. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good week, man. Thank you for your support. Welcome on board. Are you only getting X-Plane 11 as a photo for live stream starting? What? No, we should be live. Gonna talk about the thumbnail? Vikas, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, from watching your streams, sitting at home quarantined, to watching you now, waiting for my multi-aircraft, you've come a long way. Vikas, you absolutely have come a long way, man. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the $5 as well. And congratulations on your career progress, my friend. That's very exciting news. Very happy for you. Let's do a drive-by. Ooh, look at that center line. Almost 10 for 10. Maybe 9 for 10 on that one. Oh, thrust bump. Cinematic purposes. Fouling the Falcon. That's who we're not in the Owl. We're fouling the Falcon. We're going to take this sucker all the way to the end because we're going to need some runway. What is our weight, by the way? We are 180,000 pounds, so if we do pop an engine, we're going to have to come back here overweight. Depending on the nature of the emergency, we may burn gas. If not, we can always accept an overweight landing. Overweight landings are nothing to be afraid of. However, you always want to weigh the options. You know, you don't want to necessarily just always do an overweight landing, but it's not something to be afraid of, especially if you're on fire. Thoughts on merge of two airlines. Sahal, we're going to talk about that the entire cruise, so stick around, man. I just wanted to get this airplane up off the ground. We started 37 minutes ago, so we're looking good on time. We'll be airborne here by about 40 minutes, so we're looking good. But yeah, we're going to talk all about the merge, and I want to straighten some things out. There's a lot of stuff that I've seen floating around that's not true, and I know there's a lot of questions for people, so... And I don't have all the answers, mind you. I don't have all the answers, but I do have some insight on this that I think is very unique and not many of you are aware of yet. So we're going to be talking about that up in cruise. Got a beautiful flight over some ortho today. Have I ever had a tail strike? Not me personally, but I've seen them. I have seen them happen. Can we get 150 likes before takeoff? That'd be sweet. We're going to hold short here, and we're going to do a checklist here. Let's go ahead and hold short. Brakes are set. Our flight controls. Full up. Oh, we were down what? What was our trim setting? Oh, up 0.2. So we need to do a little bit on this. There we go. There we go. Flight controls. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. I love seeing that. That's cool. Neutral. Rudder. Full left. Full right. And neutral. Auto brakes max. Takeoff config check. On. Auto. Oop, missed it. There we go. TARA, we are on. We are going packs off. Let's go. Salt Lake City traffic. Frontier 357 departing 3-4 right. Salt Lake. You guys ready to get out of here? Let's do it. Probably should have done a map check to make sure nobody was on final, but hopefully we're all right. We'll go ahead and set this nice and straight. Let me get my mic back down in position. Why do we have a status? Oh, because the packs are off. That's right. All right. You guys know what time it is. Get my microphone back down in position. Are you guys ready for a maximum Toga packs off? I don't think so. I don't see those Togas in chat. Let me see some Togas in chat. Here we go. Spool them up. 50, ladies and gentlemen. Nose forward on the stick. Here we go. Yoga. Love it. Man, Toga SRS runway auto thrust is blue. Thrust set. 100 knots. Check. V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Flyby. Ooh, baby. Flaps 3. We're climbing today. We are climbing today with flaps 3, ladies and gentlemen. Another flyby. Oh yeah, marker beacon. Thank you, X-Plane. Alright, we should probably, there's the acceleration altitude, so we're going to go pack 1. Positive trend in airspeed. Let's go start working it back. Thrust climb. Auto thrust. Get that nose down a little bit. We are in the detent, correct? Yeah, we are in the detent. Thrust climb, auto thrust. Nice thrust reduction there. About 15 seconds, we'll get pack 2 back online. Oh, listen to that buzzing, man. Tell you what, CFMs are starting to tug at my heartstring a little bit here. God, that sounds good, doesn't it? Alright, that's enough time. Let's go ahead. Pack 2 can come online. Let's go ahead and set up our box, direct corver insert in the turn. We're still below F speed. Here we go. Go a little bit harder there on the turn. IE for life. Yeah, I hear you, Brian. But for right now, I'm enjoying these. God, the Toliss 321, when you're a little bit heavier loaded, what are we? We're 180,000? Yeah, 180,000 pounds. Oh, it just flies so nice. I mean, it always flies nice, but it just flies extra nice. Okay, there's F speed. So at F speed, when you're flaps 3, you're going to go straight from 3 to 1. You're not going to go to 2. So here we go, 3 to 1. And it'll stop at 1 plus F. Little forward pressure on the stick there. We'll get back to the command bars now. I know I'm kind of jumping around, but I'm trying to fly from the wing view here. Sim looking extra juicy, I agree. A little bit of wind down there on the water. Man. So much juice. I'm going to show you guys here the flap 0 transition as well. For those of you who have the Flight Sim Project stick down, I know a couple of you have already received yours. And you want to see an absolute real behavior of the airplane. You're going to see it here real quick. So when you go flaps 0, even though it is fly-by-wire, the airplane's still trying to maintain 1G, but a lot of times when you go flap 0, the airplane's still going to pitch up a little bit. So just like in real life, I literally have to come here and press forward with the stick. Now you can see it auto-retracted the flaps, so I'm already having to do that a little bit. All right, there's our S speed. So now I'm going to go flap 0. And it's not going to do it because we already had the F speed up. But when those flaps auto-retracted, you saw me probably nudging it down. But yeah, we had to do an auto-retract today because we're pretty heavy out of here. But yeah, when you're flying your airplane, and especially if you go from flaps 1 plus F straight to 0 manually, you're going to be noticing that. You're going to have to give it a little bit of forward pressure there. But then after that, we're just juicing. We're at a 10,000. Let's go ahead and kill the lights. We'll go ahead and kill that. We'll kill that. Let them know. We're a little premature on that one, but that's all right. Man, we'll just keep hand flying for right now. Enjoy the view. Ken. Okay. Alright, so he wants to do a 99 climb out at this weight. It'll take about 422 years to get there, so I'm just going to select speed 300. Oh yeah, baby, check that out. Have I ever suggested a flyby by mistake in real life? Not yet, but I've thought about it mentally, man. I've mentally, I guarantee you I've thought it. I guarantee you I've thought about it mentally. Yeah, anytime I'm pilot monitoring and the FO goes, gear up, I'm like, gear up. And then in my head, I secretly say, flyby. Just like this, flyby. This is a juice view right here. Kind of on the edge of the leading edge there. Yeah, so you still need to come down a little bit. We'll hand fly her up to 18,000. We'll hand fly it up to 18 today. I've noticed you like flying out of Salt Lake in the sim. Do you like Salt Lake in real life? Brockton, just the last 2 streams I've been in Salt Lake. I got nothing against Salt Lake. Nothing at all. I actually haven't flown to Salt Lake in real life in quite some time, so maybe that's why I'm doing it in the sim, because I haven't been there in real life in a while. We'll go ahead and start turning down some of these sounds. Let's knock this down to what, about 50 there. We'll bring this down to about 10 on the outside. All right, there's our 300 speed. Now, at 300 knots, at this weight, if you park your attitude indicator right on top of that, what's that, like 5-degree line there, so almost about 7.5 degrees, that should be all you'd need, and you're pretty much just hands-off cruising right now. Don't say spoid brakes in real life. During real departures, do you also say yoga mentally? No, I don't think I say yoga mentally, because 99% of the departures in real life are flex. So I will tell you this though, I do mentally have to make a mental note to not go into Toga when we're doing a flex departure, because sometimes I just want to push my throttles all the way up. But no, it's most of them are flex departures in real life. Nice turnout here. Side stick jockey. Thank you so much for the $20, man. Thank you so much for that $20 super chat. He says, thank you for everything you do. Side stick jockey. Well, thank you, sir, for your support. And I'm glad you're enjoying the content, man. Awesome donation. Thank you very, very much, sir. Why do flaps auto retract? Well, for the exact same reason you saw today. Heavy 321, that F speed there is going to be pretty close to your V&E. So if you were to keep them extended, the 1+F, you would probably go into your V&E and you would overspeed the flaps. The slats can go a little bit faster, so that's why if you watch on the auto retract, the slats will stay extended, but the flaps will come up. The trailing edge flaps will come up. Gives you a little bit extra buffer, because if you were to just go flap 0, your VLS is going to come up and bite you at super heavy weights, especially in a 321. And sometimes I've seen it where it's so close that, I mean, you are riding a margin of about 5 knots. I mean, even with the auto retract comes up, you go flap 0, that VLS just creeps right up behind you. All right, we are close enough to 18. Let's go ahead and set standard 1, 2, and 3 times. And as soon as we straighten the wings out here, we're going to go ahead and turn on the autopilot. Actually, right about there. Perfect. Autopilot 1 is on. Flyby. Put you guys back in the house here. You hear the flight attendants call you in real life, answer the call and say, thanks for the donation. I've thought about it, Jeremy. I definitely have. I'm like, oh, is that a dono? Oh, no, it's just something broken or something else. They want something most of the time. Either that or they're just checking on us, but... All right, we're 18.1. We can do a little bit more speed. What's our weight allowing us to do here? Let me go PDX in this box. We'll go PDX here. We got 500 miles straight line distance. Our optimum is 300. Our recommended max is 356. So this is a real world application here. Let's talk through this before we get all into the merger acquisition talk. Optimum flight level and recommended max. These are 2 numbers that are commonly misunderstood, especially, by simmers, but also real world pilots. I've talked to guys that have a little misnomer, and bear in mind that company procedure could dictate something different. But for the most part, recommended max, that doesn't mean you can't fly above it. It's just your recommended max to guarantee you a buffet margin during rough air, turbulent air. So it guarantees you a 1.3 G buffet margin, but we could go to 36. Me personally, though, I'm never going to fly above recommended max unless it's some type of emergency that would dictate it. I always try to stay below recommended max. Your optimum flight level is not just your optimum flight level for your weight. It's actually your optimum flight level for your efficiency through the duration of the flight. So it'll take into account winds, it'll take account the temperature, and your current aircraft gross weight, and it will tell you the best altitude to fly for performance. So This is kind of the company optimum. If you really want to help the company out, you're probably going to see most of your dispatchers are going to file you close to that optimum flight level. Now, I have seen it though, where if you're super heavy, you got to do step climbs and whatnot. That's a different discussion. But with our cruise at 34 and our recommended max at 35.7, I'm actually going to dial this back. Let's go 32. So we're going to be a little bit closer to optimum, and we're going to be well below max. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to change this. I'm just going to go fly level 320. That's going to be our new cruise altitude today. So 32 is set, about 1,700 feet above optimum, and we're well below max. So that's kind of a real world application of that. If your cruise altitude is above your rec max, you're probably going to have to do a step climb. That's probably where you're going to start seeing step climbs in your flight plan. So just something to discuss there. Nice to see that. It's pretty low optimum. I would imagine this has to do with winds. That'd be my guess. But right now it seems to be a smooth ride, so let's go ahead and turn the seatbelt sign off. What a beautiful day here, though. Do a flyby. Sim Aviator, what's going on, man? Good to see you, dude. Hey, Sim Aviator, I gotta say, I was watching. I was gonna leave a comment and then I forgot, but I was watching your stream. I think you were in was it the 321? Where you ran out of fuel and then you ended up crashing. Dude, I was laughing so hard, man. That was you handled it really well, though. You handled it professionally. Oh no, you didn't run out of fuel. You had ice. But don't feel bad, because I've run into that situation where there's no ice accumulation in X-Plane, so you can't tell that you're icing. And sometimes the ice comes on way stronger than it would in real life, and it just takes you out. But yeah, you iced up. I think you were flying up in the Northeast, man. But I really enjoyed that stream. I caught some of that. I was going to leave a comment, but yeah, man, got to watch out for those icing conditions. But glad to have you on board. Welcome, dude. All right, let's go ahead and turn down the sounds a little bit outside so we can go outside. And we'll turn down this inside too. We'll turn down the internal volumes about 20%. 20. Outside is 5. Oh, yeah, here we go. I don't even know where to sit on this one. I think we should go on this side. That's where we need to be, right there. We'll turn this all the way down. Anti-ice for life, even in the summer. Sim Aviator, exactly. Remember, up at altitude, those icing conditions, I mean, you can have icing conditions even in the summer. Very easily you can have icing conditions in the summer, just because of the wind temperature aloft, man. So, all right, let's go ahead and turn that down a little bit more. Trying to get all the audio here set up. We'll turn X-Plane pretty much all the way down. All right. Remember that stream where XP72 flipped the CRJ on takeoff? Yes, I do, man. That was hilarious. All right, so let's talk about mergers and acquisitions here on the cruise portion of this flight. So as you guys know, Frontier and Spirit are merging now, which is pretty interesting. So first off, the process is going to take quite some time. I know a lot of guys think, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Is Frontier going away for forever now, or Spirit going away? The thing is that airline integration takes a very long time. Sometimes it can take up to 5 years. I've seen, I think it was at Southwest and AirTran, I think they had a 5-year integration process. So first things first, remember, you're not going to see a lot of changes too quick. Now, I will say, being in the industry and seeing what's been happening recently, especially with the COVID times and everything now, we are in an unprecedented time in the airline industry. So it wouldn't surprise me if this merger and acquisition process was expedited and completed much faster than we've seen in the past. So it can take up to 5 years before it's completely merged, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something less than 2 years, maybe even a year. But the thing that still has to happen is the DOJ has to approve this merger. It still hasn't been approved. Once it does get approved, which I think it will, then you can go ahead and start the clock for the merger timeline. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a year to 2 years just because of the unprecedented times we face now in the airline industry with the pilot shortage and COVID recovery. But it also wouldn't be surprising to see it take up to 5 years. Now, good thing that the Spirit Frontier of a common aircraft type, that actually is a good point you bring up there, Davza, because that does help a lot with the integration process, especially on the training footprint. So when you merge airlines and you don't have a common fleet type, then it gets a little bit more nasty because you have to then take those pilots. You have to first find out what are they going to be able to hold seniority-wise with the new seniority list. You have to merge seniority lists, which we'll get into here in a minute. But then once those lists are merged, you have to decide who's going where and what equipment, and it's new training, and it's a huge strain on the training department as well. So having a common fleet type is definitely going to help with the making it happen faster. I believe personally, I think it'll happen faster because of the same fleet type. Now, someone asked, do you think they're changing names? So here's how it goes, guys. I'm going to give you a little history lesson here. So American Airlines, as you know it, I bet a lot of you don't know that is actually America West. So America West bought U.S. Airways. They kept the name U.S. Airways. Okay, long story short, U.S. Airways bought American, but they kept the American name because of the brand, I think, and because of the title and just the history of the name American Airlines. So even though it's American Airlines today, technically that was America West, a little tiny airline in the Southwest that bought US Air and then eventually bought American. But we see American as a passenger. You wouldn't know that unless you're really in the industry or you follow the industry intimately and you follow all the details about it. So with talking about Spirit and Frontier is actually the driving owner in this merger acquisition. Frontier is going to own 51.5% of the company as a whole. So that is a majority share over Spirit Airlines. Now, this is a tidbit that I can confirm that under the second filing that has been released, in the document it says that post-merger Frontier will dissolve into the Spirit brand. Now, this can change, but as of right now, it looks as if Spirit will be the brand that stays on the airplanes. Now, whether they stay yellow, whether they have the same call sign, whether the livery doesn't change, we don't know any of those details yet. And in fact, liveries, a lot of us as simmers, we care about liveries, right? Because we want to see how it looks cool and whatnot. But to an airline, to management, a livery is the last thing on their mind. That is just a scratch that they don't need to itch right now. It costs money to repaint everything. However, it's like on the list of priorities, painting your airplanes, and the livery is probably the last thing on the list, to be honest with you. So as of right now, it does appear that Spirit is going to be the brand name moving forward. Now, if you look at the market both of these airlines serve, so Frontier and Spirit are very similar in how they operate. However, they have some overlap, but there's a lot of places Frontier goes that Spirit doesn't go, and there's a lot of places Spirit goes that Frontier doesn't go. So there's not a ton of overlap. There definitely is some, but I do think as of now we're going to see the Spirit name. And as far as the brand awareness, personally, I think Spirit has a larger brand awareness, whether it be because of their yellow airplanes, which is the whole point. That's why they painted them yellow, is because it stands out. It makes a statement. If you've ever flown into Chicago, if you've ever flown into Miami, any hub where Spirit operates, and if there's more than 5 or 6 airplanes on the ground, they're all yellow, you can see it. So whether you love it or hate the yellow, it does make an impact. So I think that might be why we're starting to see that the Spirit brand will continue after, even though it's Frontier controlling management wise. As of right now, that's how it's filed in court. So moving on to, I know you guys keep talking about the call sign. I don't know if they'll change the call sign. Call signs actually have to go through an approval process through the FAA. But I've heard a lot of good ones like Fear-It and Spiritier, or Frontier Wings, or Spirit Flight. I don't know. Who knows? I think the call sign is probably one step below the livery in list of priorities for merging airlines. So it's probably going to be a while before we hear what the call sign is, if it even is different. It's not. It is possible that it may not change. So now you can finally fly the 321neo. Exactly. So by 2026, it's projected that the Frontier Spirit Airline is going to be, it automatically overnight it's become the 5th largest airline in the United States. But by 2026, they're going to have nearly 500 Airbuses, an all Airbus fleet of 500 airplanes, including A319s, A320s, A321s, A321 XLRs, A320neos, A321neos. And as of right now, Spirit still has some orders for A319neos. We'll have to see, post-merger if that comes to fruition or not. But that is one heck of a fleet of 500 airplanes by 2026, all Airbuses. I mean, that's definitely the largest that I know of. I mean, that's more Airbuses than the majority of some airlines in the European and other countries around the world. So that is a ton of airplanes when you think about it. Now, it's not the largest fleet. Obviously, I think American's over 1,000 by now. But I'm just talking Airbus specific. They have a mixed fleet, right? But just 500 Airbus. Could you imagine seeing 500 Airbuses? If I just went to like an airfield and I saw 500 Airbuses parked, could you imagine? I'd be in heaven. So what airline is my favorite? So we're going to talk more. Personally, I think that I haven't, like I said, I haven't flown on Frontier in a really long time. I've only had some experience with Spirit in recent months. But they're pretty much equal to me, man, when you think about it. I prefer Spirit just because they get IE engines, right? But we'll see. Do you think they'll go long haul or order wide bodies? I don't know about wide bodies, but the XLRs, Vladimir, is definitely going to breach that long haul market. I mean, United already has plans to take the XLR into Europe. JetBlue's already taken LRs, just a standard 321 LR. They're already taking those to Europe. So it's going to definitely open up where these airlines will fly to. But it's also going to take some time still. So let me go ahead and hold that thought. Let me go into Mach mode here so we don't overspeed. I'm actually going to select Mach 8.1. And how we doing on gas? We're just doing an airplane check here, 8.6. We're looking good. Okay, so let's go back outside. We got some ugly default scenery here just for a little bit. So since it's ugly, we'll go ahead and we'll just focus in on the airplane. How's that shot? Oh, that's pretty good right there. Daggum. See the CFMs on the 321 look good. Spirit, Frontier, Merger, new call sign, US Air. I don't know. Like I said, the call sign is probably one step below painting the airplanes. I'm trying to answer some of your questions in chat and try to keep my brain on topic here. So I'm going through the chat right now to try to answer some questions. Then we're going to get back into the meat and potatoes of what happens on the pilot side. Let me get to some of your questions here. Superdil says, greetings. How do I configure the Airbus to autoland? What is the altitude in the chart to do the autoland? I want to learn. So Superdil, if you're doing an autoland, on your DH, on your performance page in the McDo, just put no DH, NODH, and then keep both autopilots engaged, and she'll come down and autoland for you. Would you recommend the 321 320? I want to fly a 321 when I grow up. Hey, they're both great airplanes. They're very similar. I mean, the 321, if you got to fly around in bumpy skies, I'll take the 321 all day, every day, because it just kind of beats back. Bigger airplane, heavier airplane, it just kind of, it takes more to move it. It doesn't get abused as much. You take a 319 up into the same sky condition, you're going to feel it. You're going to be like, you're going to be vibrating a little bit. So the 321, if it's bumpy, 320 is just, to me, it's kind of just the meh airplane between the two. Personally, I prefer the 319. I think flying the 319 is much more fun. But taxiing a 321 is fun because you get to kind of feel like a big boy. I mean, you get to be like a baby 757. I haven't flown anything larger than a 321 in my career, so it's always fun to be in the 321. But as far as the flying goes, flying a 319, I don't want to say you feel invincible, but when ATC puts you in a tight situation, or maybe you yourself put yourself in a tight situation with a descent window or you're high, the 319, you can handle it. I mean, you can use and abuse that airplane, get those speed brakes out. You don't have to turn the autopilot off to get full deflection, and she'll come down like a rocket. So 319, as far as the flying aspect, if it's a bumpy day, put me in a 321. Sim Aviators, to smash that like button. Do appreciate it if you guys like this content. If you like talking about real world stuff and you like simming, do hit that like button for me. It does, believe it or not, help the channel, helps the channel grow, especially a channel like mine, guys, where I don't really have a set schedule for streaming because I've got a lot going on, whether it be my day job, flying the airplane. I got 2 kids at home. And of course, for those that don't know, I stream from an office because my internet's so bad at the house. So I actually rent an office out, the V1 HQ. I come in, I like to do content for you guys. So if you like this stuff, do hit the like button because it helps with the algorithms on YouTube and it helps the videos get to more people and bring more people to the channel. So I do appreciate every single one of you that hit the like button and subscribe. Greetings from Germany. Have a great flight stream. Thank you, Zebo Pilot. All right, let's go ahead and talk now about the pilot point of this, yeah, let's talk about the pilot aspect. So what's going to happen with the pilot groups? Now, unlike Brian Wood, I'm going to get to that in a second here. So each airline has their own pilot group, right? We got Frontier pilots, we got Spirit pilots. Each airline is represented by a union. In this specific case, both airlines are represented by the same head union, ALPA, Airline Pilots Association. So because it's an ALPA to ALPA merger, each airline has its own MEC or negotiating team when it comes to contracts. They have their own people in charge, right? So you have the headquarter ALPA. Just think of it like top-down branch. So you got HQ ALPA, and then you have individual airline ALPA. So you got ALPA Frontier and you got ALPA Spirit. And then within the airline, you probably have your own reps, whether it's a base rep or a captain rep or an FO rep. You have your own representatives that would be my direct contact. So if I want to say something or something happened to me and I need to grieve it or talk to the union, I'm going to contact my union rep, which for me at my airline would be a captain rep. So I talk to the captain rep and he runs it up the chain to the airline rep. And then eventually, if it needs to go there, it can go to the main HQ ALPA. But because it's ALPA on ALPA merger, the communication is going to be a lot more fluid, and in theory now, it should be a much smoother process during the merge. However, like many of you follow Blanco Lirio, which I do as well. I think he's a great dude. He's very cut and dry with his information, but he's quick to get it out there. He's got a ton of experience, and he made a statement that I couldn't agree more with. He said that the merger won't be complete until both pilot groups are equally dissatisfied with the outcome. And what does he mean by that? So when you merge a list, your seniority number is at risk. What is a seniority number? When you get hired at an airline, that class, you have a class that you go, a new hire class, right? When you're in new hire training, you get assigned a seniority number. Every airline is different. Majority of the time, it's based on your age. If it's a tie on the age, then you go by social security last number, whatever, however they figure it out. It's based on your age on that specific class date that you started. You get that number. So if you're a 20-year-old and you're in a class of everybody is 25 and older, that 20-year-old is going to be the highest number in seniority, which means he's actually the lowest on the totem pole. He's going to be the last to get a number. And the theory behind that is with mandatory retirement it used to be 60, now it's 65. The older guys should be more senior to the younger guys in the same class because they got to retire first, right? So that's the theory behind that. But that seniority number is your life at an airline. Okay, when my very first 121, which is an airline flight in the United States, I was flying an E170. I can't remember. We were going Philly to, I think we're going to Philly, New Orleans or something like that. And there was a jump seater on the airplane. I'm gonna change this song here though. It was a little bit too hardcore here. Let's skip that one. So there was a jump seater on my very first flight in the airlines, and he was an older gentleman. And he was looking at me. I'm a young man, FO, my first flight on OE. I don't know what I'm doing. First time I've been in an airliner. And we get to chatting on the jump seat. And he looks at me, and this gentleman he had just completed his retirement flight as a captain on the A330 Airbus into Philly. So he was done. His career was over. And he looked over at me, and I was kind of asking him questions about the airline industry. And because originally I had corporate pilot goals. That was my goal. I wanted to stay on the corporate side of things. So when I got into the airline business, I wasn't very knowledgeable. I was very green on the airline side of things. So I kept asking him questions. And at the very end, he wrapped it up and he said this to me. It's one of the most important pieces of advice I've ever got. And he looks at me and goes, son, this industry is never good and it's never bad. But it is always changing. If you get to an airline where you are happy, you need to stay there because seniority is everything. And don't chase upgrades. Don't go to a different airline because you think you can upgrade faster. Don't go to a different airline because the money is better. If you are happy at an airline that you're at, he said, stay there and accrue that seniority because your whole life is going to be based off of that number. The more senior you get, the better your trips are because you get to pick trips in seniority order, right? Every month the bid packet comes out, we get to pick which trips we want to do, and it's awarded in seniority order. So the more senior guys, they get what they want, they get the days off that they want, they get holidays off that they want. So seniority trickles down and it shapes your life and it shapes your career. So it is very, very important to a pilot to have a good seniority. So every pilot is very connected to their seniority number. Now, the problem is when you merge seniority lists, how do you make it equal where everybody is happy? And the reality of the situation is there is no way to make that happen because take, for example, the Spirit Frontier merger. There is a lot of very senior guys at Frontier Airlines that have been flying for Frontier well before some of the most senior guys at Spirit. So even though the most senior guys at Spirit are living the dream at Spirit because they get what they want, they're senior. If you merge the list with Frontier, now you have more senior pilots at Frontier that are going to step above them. So the Spirit guy's like, well, I get punished just because I chose a different airline and then we merged 20 years down the road or 10 years down the road, whatever. So you could see where it would cause controversy. So there's different methods that go in place to mitigate that. Theoretically, straight date of hire would be the most fair on paper. But again, you have to present the argument of, well, what if that airline didn't exist when this person got hired? You could take a very old airline, merge it with a new airline, and the most senior guy at that new airline is going to get shafted because he chose a slightly different path to get where he got. So it's very convoluted. It will take a long time. And it's gonna make probably a lot of people upset. I mean, like Blanco Lirio said, it's not going to be complete until both pilot groups are equally disappointed in the merger. Now, back in the day, American did what was called stapling. So to take an example, we're going to take the American TWA merger in quotes, more like an acquisition. So now that you know a little bit about seniority and how important it is, what American did to the TWA pilots when they merged, they took that entire seniority list of TWA pilots and they stapled them to the bottom. So you would have pilots that have been flying wide-body TWA aircraft for years, senior, literally get more junior than the guy that was just hired at American 6 weeks prior to the merger. And you can imagine the uproar and the anger that I mean, lives were lost. People committed suicide over that. You literally destroyed lives of people because of the stapling aspect. And I believe it happened one more time. What is it, Southwest and AirTran? Did they staple them? They stapled them to the bottom. So after this, all this happened, legislation came out that said, okay, you can no longer staple a pilot group because that's just not fair. You're literally destroying the lives of people who may have been flying for 15, 20 years, and now because of a management decision made that way outside of their control, they're now on reserve and a narrow body, out of base, commuting. So it's a very nasty thing to be stapled. So there's legislation in place now that prevents that from happening. And it goes, let me actually read it to you. So when you have an ALPA to ALPA merger, we were talking about unions. Let me pull it up here so you guys, I don't say this wrong. I hope everything's good inside the cockpit. Okay, here we go. So the new policy, this is straight from ALPA. The new policy states that the factors that must be considered is constructing a fair and equitable integrated seniority list in no particular order and with no particular weight. Now include, but are not limited to, career expectations, longevity, and status and category. So if that makes no sense to you, that's okay, because it still doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But that is the actual definition of how they have to do mergers now, ALPA to ALPA. So career expectations and longevity is what they're going to take into account. So you can see where this is going to get nasty. Now, it doesn't have to get nasty, especially when you have an ALPA-ALPA merger like this, similar fleet types. In this time, with post-COVID now and with the pilot shortage, I think, maybe just me being optimistic here, but I think the pilots are going to have a slight advantage in their favor going through this negotiation process. Now, when this list finally does get merged, we got to get to pay. So Steve Venn said word salad. Exactly. Let me go back in the chat here, but we're going to get to the pay scales here in a minute, because I know a lot of you guys want to get to that. But let me go back and answer some of your chat. And actually, before I do that, let's go ahead and take a look at the airplane. Make sure everything is good here. Everything is good. We're 320. Everything is looking really good inside the airplane. So we're doing good things there. Now let me get back to some of y'all's messages here. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, you guys were saying it sucks what happens. And they wonder why the relationship between pilots and management are so bad at American. Jay, you're exactly right. So there is for some reason, in my personal experience as being a U.S. airline pilot in the United States, the only management company that I know of that treated their employees the best was when Herb Keller was the CEO of Southwest Airlines. My buddies at Southwest Airlines now have said, since he has, unfortunately since he's passed away now, but once he retired, it started on a downhill slope. But before then, he treated his employees and pilots like, I don't know if I want to say family, but much better than normally between management and other airlines. Jay, yes, both airline groups are the same union. Let's see. How will this affect frequent flyer miles? I don't know. That's something that's going to be sorted out. Fubar, thanks for the kind words, man, about me being a teacher. I appreciate that, sir. Brockton Johnson, I'm just scrolling way back in the chat here. I have a Mo Kalele interview this week. That's awesome, dude. It's a dream of mine to be typed on the 320 family after SkyWest. Keep up the great work. Well, good luck with Mo Kalele, sir. I think I interviewed... Oh, I didn't interview with Mo Kalele. I interviewed with Pacific Wings when they had caravans back in the day. But good luck on that, sir. Hope you have a good one. All right. Chase, hey, everyone. Glad to be on board. Hope all is well. Everything is good, man. Hope all is well with you, dude. Welcome aboard. All the Frontier guys probably want the Spirit contract. Spirit Airlines sucks, so this is an upgrade for them. Hammer, that's not necessarily true. So let's go ahead and talk about pay and then the integration of SOPs and that, because I know you guys are starting to get into that chat now. So as far as pay goes, each airline operates off of what's called a CBA, or collective bargaining agreement. This is negotiated by the unions. I'm going to change this song here. So each pilot group has a CBA, collective bargaining agreement. That is their pilot contract. That has everything the company can and cannot do to them. That outlines their reserve rules. That outlines their duty regulations, how long they can be on duty and all that stuff. And it also outlines the pay scales. Now, Frontier recently received a pay scale that is pretty much comparable with Spirit. I actually don't know at this moment if it's lower or higher than Spirit. Whatever the difference is, I know it's minimal, maybe a couple dollars here and there. So the pay with the most recent Frontier contract is pretty comparable. However, Spirit Airlines has one of the best quality of life contracts in the United States. And prior to the most recent contract Spirit is operating under, Spirit Airlines was the #1 place to work if you wanted a good quality of life. You could do things at Spirit Airlines that you could not do at any other airline in the U.S. Just to name a few, you could drop to zero What does that mean? So that means if you get a month of flying, you're normally awarded about 72, 75 hours of flying on average. If you want to just take a month off, granted, without pay, you could drop everything. You could drop your entire schedule. Okay, a lot of airlines restrict the drops to about 60 hours of credit, maybe 70. That way pilots just don't drop everything. That's just how they keep people flying. This is part of quality of life. I'm explaining quality of life now. So that was one aspect. You have a red-green system. So what does red-green mean without getting in all the details? Basically, every month the company has to come out and say, we need this many reserve pilots on these days. And if they have that many reserve pilots, that day is labeled as a green day, which means if you're flying on that day, you can drop it if you want. You don't have to go to work. Maybe something comes up. I want to go to the park with my daughters. I can drop that day if it's green. Now, if it's red, that means there's more open flying than there are reserves available for that day. So you can't drop that trip, unfortunately. So that's what the red-green system is. That's an aspect that's at Spirit Airlines that is pretty well sought after. Now, there's much more. I can get into much more detail on that. But as far as quality of life goes, I know, especially as simmers, we relate to airlines based on our passenger experience. I will be the first to tell you that the Spirit Airlines is not the best passenger experience out there. Neither is Frontier. And quite frankly, I'd say the majority of the U.S. airlines have a very poor passenger experience, with the exception of Delta Airlines. I think Delta Airlines, in my opinion, still has the best premium product available to the customer, to the consumer that wants to go flying. So for you guys, when you book flights, if you fly on Delta, you know that they have a very, very superior product across all the airlines. I still think they are the number one as far as passenger product. So there's a lot to each contract, each CBA. It's not just pay, it's quality of life rules. So Frontier has more of a pay contract, where Spirit has a lot of these quality of life items. So what's going to happen now? You have two contracts. How do you get them together? Well, you have to come up with a joint CBA. It's called a JCBA, which is a joint collective bargaining agreement. Since it's ALPA to ALPA, the Spirit's ALPA team is going to get with the ALPA team of Frontier. They're going to come together. They're going to come up with a negotiation. They're going to both negotiate together against the company for a joint contract. Now, ideally, you're looking for, well, let's take all the good quality of life things from Spirit. Let's take all the good quality of life things from Frontier, and let's get a pay raise on top of it. That's obviously a pipe dream. That doesn't happen, but that's the goal, right? That's what you strive to achieve. So those, I'm not part of any negotiating committee. I don't do any negotiating for my airline, but that's kind of what happens, and that's all very behind closed doors. Unless you're in the room, you really don't know what's going on at that time, because it's, like I said, very closed doors, and they have to keep it that way because you don't want rumors getting out and stuff spreading along. But the JCBA is where you can really either divide, or what's the opposite of divide? Like bring together the pilot group. Much of you were referencing earlier, like American and Airways. The pilot group was very divided because during the joint CBA process, when it got to seniority integration, it was I don't remember what the numbers were, but it was not very fair to the Airways guys as far as seniority. I don't know if it was like 3-1 or whatever. Basically, I want 3 of my American guys to 1 of your Airways guys, and that's how they compiled the list. Don't quote me on the number. I don't know if that's correct or not, but it was such a divide that it actually caused a lot of disdain between the two crews. Whether you were Legacy American or Legacy Airways, the guys hated it. They hated each other. They hated flying with each other because they thought that they got screwed. So the JCBA process, the negotiating process, is what is going to either make or break the pilot group as a whole. I'm hoping that, in these unprecedented times, we've never seen times like these in the aviation industry with post-COVID recovery, pilot shortage. We haven't seen this before. And the fact that both companies are under the same union representation, I'm hopeful that for those two pilot groups, it's going to be smoother than in years past, but you also have to be realistic. You have to know that there's going to be some disappointment. There's going to be some unhappy people. So it's a long process. Again, it can take up to 5 years. We've seen it in past. Personally, I would put about a year to 2 year time frame on it when you see full integration. But that's a little bit about, I mean, I feel like I've been talking for a while here, but that's just a brief outline of what's about to take place between these two airlines. Right now, it's going to be status quo. Frontier's going to fly Frontier stuff. Spirit's flying Spirit stuff. And you just got to stay focused. You know, it's one of those times where distractions can really come into play now. You start talking with your coworkers about the contract and the merger, and before you know it, you're blowing through an altitude restriction on the star, and now you got to file an ASAP report. So you got to remember to be professional and still get your job done. Obey the sterile cockpit rule like Blanco Lirio was talking about. Try to really have some discipline, because you guys can get to talking with your coworker about, you know, what you want to see on the new contract or whatnot, what you think about the merger, and you can really jeopardize some altitude and speed restrictions for sure. All right, let's get to the questions here. I'm going to scroll back here. Simi says, did Sun Country scam me by asking me to have my mask on while eating and drinking as well? Simi, I don't know, man, about that. Here's the thing with masks. Wherever you are with masks, I mean, we were told years ago that airplanes were the safest place, right? Because the air goes through the filters every 90 seconds, whatever it is. Oh, airplanes are fine. Fly on airplanes. And now, at least in the U.S., airplanes are pretty much the only place where you got to wear a mask, like where it's enforced regularly anyway, at least where I see it. Now, it depends on what state you're in, but it's just like, what? And I think people are starting to lose their mind mentally with it. Personally, I'm starting to lose my mind mentally with it. It's just like, what are we doing here? Like, nobody knows what they're doing. Let's just be honest. Nobody knows what they're doing. You can't tell me a year ago that airplanes are the safest place from COVID, and now they're like the most dangerous place, and you have to wear a mask when you're eating and drinking. Like, come on, you're up at high altitude, especially for cabin crew. You're up at high altitude. You're already at higher risk for hypoxia. You have less oxygen to the brain. You guys want to talk about following the science? Why don't we go into our freaking pilot handbook of aeronautical knowledge and read about hypoxia and lack of oxygen and what that does to your brain and judgment? So, I don't know about Sim Aviator. So I'm pro-mask, but I don't know while chewing. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Whether you're pro-mask or not, I think, I don't want to get in a mask discussion, but I think if you want to wear the mask, everybody should wear the mask. Or you should wear it. There should be nothing wrong if you want to wear it. If you don't want to wear it, I don't know. I don't see why you shouldn't be able to wear it. Isn't that why America is America? I mean, we're free. Who knows? Let's try not to get into... Let's not get into any debates about masks and all that. But while chewing, I don't know about that, Simiviator. I haven't seen that, man. But that sucks. That's hard to chew, and I feel for you, man. That's tough. What happens to SOPs? Okay, so SOPs, they too will be merged, right? So you're going to have the SOPs. They're going to go through. They're going to try to do it as streamlined as possible. You're going to pick. You're probably going to pick what. Since they're both Airbus operators, you're probably going to have very similar SOPs. You're probably going to have a lot of streamlining take place. But as far as training goes, it's going to be very similar because it's the same type, right? Where you have a different fleet type, then the SOPs really get mangled up. But same fleet type, you just go through and you streamline and say, oh, you do this, why do you do that? And then Spirit does this, why do you guys do that? And you come up together. And this is part of the pro standards department, the training department. They're going to have to sort all this out. It's not going to be the pilot's job to sort that out. That's all going to be sorted out in the management level, and then they're going to trickle those new documents out to the pilots that are flying the line. But again, same fleet type, should be relatively simple. And I put quotes, if you could see me, on should. Isn't the Delta Northwest merger distraction what caused Northwest 188? Yes. That is what is rumored to happen. Do you think JetBlue and American will merge? I don't know, T-Bomb. I don't know. I tell you what, this merger between Frontier and Spirit is going to put some strain on American for sure, and a couple other airlines as far as market share goes. But yeah, they've been working with JetBlue already together to capitalize on those markets. Now, it was struck down before because it's monopolizing a market. I think it was actually struck down in court. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future about merging, but I don't think it's out of the question, T-Bomb. Chris, yeah, Delta beats all others in passengers. Absolutely. There's no doubt. There is no denying that Delta has the best passenger product. Does the Toliss 340 impact more on FPS than the 321? I think they're about similar, man. I think they're about similar. All right, let's try to stay off the vaccinated and mask debate back and forth. Look, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, whether you're pro-vax or pro-mask. And since this is a global channel, I was speaking to people all over the world. It's hard to just blanket stuff. I speak from being an American and what I see here in my country, but I know it can be vastly different across the world. So that's why I don't really want to get too much into that topic, because it's different for everybody. So let's try to. I know I dipped into it there with my little mask comments, but let's try to bring it back into aviation and merger questions. Oh, Potato, you want to work for Delta someday? Well, I hope you get hired, man. Should be pretty attainable for you, man. They're hiring big time now. It'd be funny if Southwest and Ryanair merged. I don't think that'll happen. What happens to flight attendants in a merger? That's interesting. So you bring up another point, Jose. We'll get to flight attendants first. Flight attendants, theoretically, are probably going to be in the same boat as pilots. They have their own representatives in their own unions, respectively. And then they're going to... I don't actually know if the Frontier flight attendants... I'm sure they have a union. I would imagine it's ALPA. I would imagine it's ALPA. So I would imagine it's very similar to what the pilots are going to go through. Now, uniforms and all that's going to be changed through training, and that's not on them. That's at a management level. They're going to get that sorted out. But what is unfortunate is a lot of employees that are not on the line, so you're not pilots and not flight attendants, there's going to be a lot of overlap in employees, which may lead to layoffs. And I know sometimes this management always says, oh, you're not going to have any layoffs. It's good for everybody. Fact of the matter is there are going to be layoffs, whether it's a middle management position or some other positions, maybe gate agents, maybe customer service, who knows. But there is a potential for furloughs at least at those levels of the companies when you merge. So that is unfortunate. Yeah, Cactus, I don't think American JetBlue merger would be approved. I don't think it would be approved straight up. Lauren, exactly. Most are not unionized, right? So I know Spirit flight attendants are unionized, I think, and I do not know about Frontier. Where I am here in Dallas, Frontier doesn't have a huge presence. They do some flights out of Dallas, but I really don't know too much about Frontier just because I'm not associated with where they fly in their parts of the country. I've had better times with United and Delta. Both are about the same, but I feel like United customer or United CC were more nice. And United got me on time to their destination. Well, there you go. See, so that's the thing. As passengers, we all base airlines off of a passenger experience, right? But as pilots and flight attendants too, it could be totally different. Like, I know some of the happiest people in the industry work at Spirit Airlines. I know some of the most miserable people in the industry work at Delta Airlines. And the same could be said for all airlines. But what I'm getting at is it's very different when you're up front. When you're up front with the cockpit door, what is your goal in your career? Is your goal to have the best quality of life you can? If you're at that airline, you're going to be happy regardless of what's happening behind the cockpit door. So I know it's kind of a hard concept to grasp if you're not in it because, again, we just base all of our airline perception off of a customer satisfaction and what we see as passengers. But for the people flying there and working there, it could be totally different. Both Frontier and Spirit are AFA. So there you go. So thank you, Jose. So in that case, I would imagine it's going to be very similar to how the pilots merger situation happens. They both have separate CBAs. They both have their own representatives. They're going to get together and they're going to hopefully work things out. Now, I don't know on the timeline. I would imagine it's got to be done at the same time approximately as the pilot side of things, because the JCBA and the seniority integration, that really is going to come towards the end of the merger process. That a lot of stuff has to take place first. You got to get DOJ approval. There's a lot of management stuff that's going to happen. I think for the line pilots, they're probably not going to see anything different really for a minimum of 6 to 8 months. It's really nothing is going to change for at least 6 to 8 months for the line pilots and flight attendants, because a lot is going to be happening at the management level throughout the merger process. Flying out of Denver all the time, it's pretty much United, Frontier, Southwest, all kind of so-so. Lufthansa business class to Denver, Frankfurt was a treat. I bet. I will say, the European airlines, they definitely still do it right as far as cabin and passenger experience. They definitely still do it right. In the U.S., unfortunately, it's become all about the money, all about how many people we can fit on board, how many passengers we can take, and how cheap can we get from A to B. Does the Frontier and Spirit merger mean that they're going to merge into one airline? Hazard, yes, it's going to be one airline, and as of right now, it's stated that Spirit is supposed to be the surviving entity as far as brand name and, brand name and I guess livery you would associate that with as well, brand awareness. As of right now, in the filings, that's what it states. It says that Frontier will merge into and Spirit will be the survivor. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to change who owns more. Frontier still owns 51.5% of the entire company. However, it's just like American U.S. Airways, where they kept the American name. What's Peoples of Alaska and Virgin America? Is it better now? Oh, it's all Alaska. Peter Green, I will say that the answer is no. That's another one. Virgin America used to be fantastic. I love flying on Virgin America. I used to jump seat on them sometimes out to D.C. I have a good friend of mine, flight school buddy. We went to flight school together. He was flying for Virgin. He still does. It was a phenomenal airline to be on board with, phenomenal cabin crew to interact with. They were always fun. I never had a bad experience on Virgin America. Unfortunately, when they merged with Alaska took over and they did Alaska things, and they crustied it up for sure. So as of right now, they're going through some very tough times as far as pilot side of things. I don't know about flight attendants because I don't really know any flight attendants. I don't have any intimate knowledge of their situation. But as far as the pilots at Alaska, I know they're going through some struggles right now, contract negotiations, and trying to get better quality of life. Their quality of life is pretty poor as of right now. So I've seen a lot of things. I've actually seen some videos on that they're using as advertisement to get awareness out there. But yeah, back in the day, Virgin America was awesome to ride on. Zombie, you just got hired at Alaska. Well, that's awesome, man. Hey, look, you probably know more than I do then. I was just going off what my buddy said. He's still, he said they're looking for more improvements, but he came from Virgin America. So I don't know how things are as good as you probably do right now since you just got hired at Alaska. But congratulations, man. I think the Spirit livery is prettier than Frontier. I don't know. Well, see, green is my favorite color. But I don't know. I got to say, the Spirit yellow, man, like I said, if you ever see 5 or 6 Spirit airplanes sitting together, it is one hell of a ramp presence. You can't deny it. That's for sure. I heard Alaska was still trying to get rid of the rest of their Airbus fleet. For some reason, they just do not want Airbus. You know what? Probably money. Aviator Trav. When you bring in when that merger was interesting because you went from an all Boeing fleet, probably all Boeing, to Airbus as well. Now, that adds a lot of complication, not just with training pilots, but with the resources and the groundwork to retrain pilots, because now you need to adopt all new procedures. When you have the Spirit Frontier merger, everything's Airbus. Yeah, you might have some differences, some fleet differences, but it's the same airplane. There's a lot of commonality. When you get a different type involved in the mix, it is an exponential amount of groundwork that has to be put down to complete that merger process, which then in turn takes a lot longer to happen. That's why this Frontier Spirit merger, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a complete merger within 2 years, but it also wouldn't surprise me if it dragged out 4+. But I think because it's Alpha, same fleet type, new CBA on the horizon for Spirit. They were just about to start negotiating for a new CBA. Current industry with COVID, I think you're going to see a lot of. I think it might be expedited a little bit faster than normal. All right, we are almost getting ready to start down. We got to start prepping here in about another 5 minutes. So we'll take a couple more questions, and then we'll start doing flight sim things. Excuse me. Do you think a major airline would hire me with 3,000 total 800 multi-engine turbine? Absolutely, T-Bomb. I sure do. I know guys that are getting hired with less time than that, dude. Chris 1, Fort Lauderdale looks like a beehive. Chris, you're absolutely right, man. I flew into Lauderdale not too long ago, man, and that whole, what is it, the Southeast complex there was, I think every Spirit plane was at the gate that day. And that's what I'm talking about. You fly in there, if you see them all, it hits you in the face. It slaps you in the face, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's just different. I'm so tired of seeing white airplanes everywhere, you know, white or just bland airplanes. But Frontier isn't bad. You know, it's not bad. I think they could have done a lot more. You know, this might look cool. What if it was all green with an animal on the tail and like a white Frontier? I don't know. But that's just me personally. Yellow is by no means is my favorite color. But when you see them together, it's cool. I don't know. Yes, I am indeed on VATSIM. We probably need to start paying attention here. Still see anger issues with United. Oh, United Continental merger to this day. Captain No Likey, you're absolutely right. And that's the thing, seniority integration, you are literally playing with the lives of every single pilot on that list. That is why it is such a word salad, problematic, confusing time to go through when you merge seniority lists, because it is so important to each pilot, that seniority number, but it has to be done. And there is no way to make everybody happy. That's just a fact. There's no way to make everybody happy. Someone is always going to be pissed off, rightfully so. Someone is always going to be disappointed, rightfully so. It's just to what degree. And that's unfortunately, that's just what happens. Dennis, I'm doing well, man. Hope you're doing good. Oh, Potato, Europe flying is crazy different. My friend got a job flying 7.3s at 163 hours here. Yeah, in the U.S., you need a minimum of 1,500, right? ATP or 1,250, something like that. An all-green airplane will be brutal on the ramp during summer. That's true. Can they do it by hour, seniority list sim? No, hours really don't matter all that much. You know, once you get hired at an airline, your hours are kind of, unless you are looking to maybe go to a different airline, a lot of guys don't even track their hours anymore. So it would be hard to just to go off of hours. But, you know, on paper, I always go back to, on paper, a straight date of hire seniority list is the most generic and you would think common sense way to go about it. But I understand why people would get upset with a straight date of hire merge, because you have a new airline and an old airline. Just because the most senior guy at the new airline started flying at that airline several years before, why do you have to punish him for being, you know, going to a new airline? See, that's the problem you face. Whereas you have an old airline, guys have been at that airline that's been around a lot longer. So where do you put them? I don't know. There's no good answer. And in the words of Blanco Lirio, it's not going to finish until everyone is equally disappointed. Frontier and Spirit have so many planes on order and have loads of expansions planned. Surely even those get a bit shafted for seniority will find themselves high up the list soon enough. Exactly, Lauren. And Lauren brings up a great point here. So we said, nearly 500 airplanes by 2026. You're going to be the 5th largest airline in the United States. The pilot groups of Frontier and Spirit, they have an opportunity in front of them that could make them be the want-to-be place to go. You know, as for years, you know, Spirit is a quality of life airline. Frontier is kind of just been a hometown airline. Guys that want to go there because they like the bases or they want to live in Denver. But combining them together, you're going to be a real threat to the 4 legacies or 3 legacies plus Southwest. The opportunity is in front of them to really become the place to be. Only time will tell what's going to happen. So with that said, this has been some good discussion. I'm going to go ahead and wind down the music here, and we're going to start getting ready for our descent into Portland International. Oh, look, just ended right there. Perfect. We're going to turn that down. Let's go ahead and bring up some sounds here. Let's bring you guys back into reality here. Let's go ahead and turn up some sounds. Well, that's a little loud. Let's bring up the internal sounds. Oh boy, we need to start down soon. Here we go. We are on, let's go, first things first. Let's go manage speed. Let's go ahead and dial it back a little bit. Enter destination data. We're going to do that right now. And what arrival are we on? We are on the Hood 4. So quickly, let's pull that out. What's the bottom altitude? KPDX. And we got to pull up the Hood 4. Sim Aviator, thank you for the 4-month support there. To many more, he says, thank you for all the knowledge. Sim Aviator, thank you so much, man, for your support. I appreciate it, guys. Sim Aviator is also a streamer himself. Check him out on YouTube. But yeah, I could talk for hours on this. And Friday, guys, so Friday, I'm thinking I'm going to have a special stream. We're going to do a VA Friday. We're going to do VA Spirit on Friday. That's the plan. And I'm going to have some... You're going to want to be there for some information that I'm going to give y'all. So we'll see. Where are we bottoming out at? I don't know yet, but let's just say 5,000 depending on the transition. So here comes TOD. Let's go ahead and set 5,000 is set and push it. We are mock descent on the way down. I don't see any Portland approach online, so I don't see anybody online. All right, so we're looking good there. Let's go ahead and fill out this information. I hate reality. You and me both, man. Reality can be a kick in the teeth sometimes. Let's do a refresh here on the weather. What are we dealing with? Portlandia. Looks like it's come up a little bit. 3504. Do you guys want to see an auto land? It's visible. It's we could do an ILS to Mins. So what do you want to say? I'm going to do a poll here. We're going to do a poll. I'll do a poll here. All right, here we go. Let me know what you guys want to see right now, because we could probably get away with an ILS down to Mins. Right now we got 1 mile viz, scattered 200. Oh, now it's just changed. 2 miles and missed. 2 miles and missed. 3061 on the meter is set. Temperature is 6 degrees. All right, we're going to leave the MDA box blank until you guys give me an answer here. Let's go ahead and take a look. What do we got? Hand fly through the soup. Vote. Make sure to vote. We'll close the we will close the vote passing flight level 200. So you got about 6,000 feet to get your vote in. 6,000 feet to get your vote in. Cat 2. We'll do it. It'd be a Cat 2 hand flown at that point, Sergey. Sergey, what's up? Just in time, he said. Yeah, welcome, man, welcome. I reject your reality and substitute my own. Kind of like the Continental United merger. We all hoped the Continental culture would prevail. Didn't happen. United is still united. Chris Patton, absolutely correct, sir. You were absolutely correct. We're going to go ahead and turn terrain mode on because we're going to be descending into some mountainous objects of granite. Cat 4. Ooh, next level there, Kyle. Next level. You can auto land a Cat 2. That's absolutely correct, No Potato. You can actually auto land a Cat 1, believe it or not. And you can hand fly a Cat 2, yes. In fact, you can even hand fly a Cat 3 depending on your company SOPs and op specs. Isn't it the case that if you have wing icing, the AOA starts climbing? So you got to be careful with your words there. But Romulus, your theory is correct. Your statement is correct. So when icing accumulates on the aircraft, especially on the leading edge here of the wing, what's going to happen is the relative wind, the angle of the relative wind and the chord line of the wing, which is the median, if you were to cut this wing in half here and you draw a line between it, that's the chord line, the angle of attack is going to be increasing. So in what would normally be a steady AOA, I'm just throwing out a random number here, let's say 5 units at 10,000 feet, 250 knots, if you were to accumulate icing, you're going to see the AOA units increasing if you had an instrument to measure AOA, such as a F-14 Tomcat or any military aircraft, or just an AOA indicator. You will see the AOA begin to increase. That is what's dangerous about icing, is you're increasing that AOA, which in turn gets you closer to a stall, and compounding on top of that, so it's not just the AOA increase that's dangerous. You're now adding weight because of the ice. So you have weight and increased AOA, which is what can definitely put you in a bad situation very quickly. But you are correct. All right, we're at a 19.5. Let's close the poll. Ooh, hand-flown. Oh, boy. All right, so let's go ahead and check this out here. What do we got? 3061. This is a huge meter. I'm going to change this early because that's a big time. 3061 set 1, 2, and 3 times. We're doing a hand-flown ILS to minimums. What did I say the wind was? 350 at 4. So what are we landing on? 10.9. I have the 10 right ILS in there. That'll be fine. We'll do the 10 right ILS. What do we got for approach options? Approach options, 10 right. Ooh, I see which one I want to do already. Son of a... Where'd I go? Oh, my goodness. Here we go. ILS 10 right, Cat 2. Ooh, can we do the special authorization, Cat 1? We can't do it. We have to check the NOTAMs. Is 5G active? If 5G is active, we can't do a special authorization. We can't do special authorization if the 5G is active. So we're going to do a Cat 2. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do a hand-flown Cat 2. So 10.9, 10.2, 11-2. So a hand-flown Cat 2 approach. Here we go. Since it's Cat 2 ILS, we have a decision altitude 124. 124, rad out 107. So we're going to do an RA here of 107. 107 is set. There's a note, RVR 1200. RVR 10 authorized with specific op spec, M spec, or LOA approval here at Frontier Airlines. We're going to assume we have all of that. Or LOA approval of use Autoland or HUD to touchdown. So, yeah, probably wouldn't be legal to hand fly this necessarily with this airplane just yet. But we're going to go ahead and do it anyway. Special aircrew and aircraft certification required. So what we'll do is we'll shut it off. We'll shut off the autopilot approaching... I don't know, maybe Scapo there. What do we got here on the ND? We need to clean this up here. So if we're going to hand fly this, we need to really look at this approach. So we're coming down the arrival. We're going to meet all the speed constraints. If I can put you into plan mode. There we go. So hood all the way down. We're looking good. So Yorkie basically bottoms out at Yorkie at 5,000.
Bank angle.
Bank angle check.
Hi V1. Are you thinking about acquiring a GA to fly for fun $100 hamburger runs? If so, what? Would you fly the PMDG 737 in MSFS or Zebo in XP11? This is inspired by recent WXR.
That's the loaded question there, Papa Tango. Thank you for your dono, man. I appreciate that. He says, I'm not thinking about acquiring a GA for a $1,000 hamburger run, $100 hamburger run. No, I'm not interested in doing that. We are just setting an icing condition. Let's get the engine anti-ice on. Would I fly PMDG and Microsoft? You bet I'm going to be flying it, man. You bet I'm going to be flying it. I'll fly both, Zebo and PMDG. What is your cutoff point in winter weather? I was canceled on Spirit through Columbus, Fort Lauderdale. When you work at an airline, your personal minimums kind of go out the window if they are greater than the company minimum. So if the company says you can do it, you're going, man. You are going. That's why you get paid the big bucks to be a professional pilot. Now, the reason they canceled it's probably because of some other limitation. I'm not quite sure. But as a private pilot or someone who flies at home, you should indeed have personal minimums. Like, what are your personal crosswind minimums? What are your personal visibility minimums? But being at an airline now, my personal minimums are to that. In my stage in my career, my personal minimums are pretty much that of what I am allowed to do per the airline SOP. So, because you always got to defend yourself, right? If I say, hey, I didn't do that approach because I'm too scared to fly ILS down the minimums, well, they're going to be like, what are you talking about? You just cost us X amount of money. You're on probation, and here's required training. So, now, your personal minimums, for wind may be a little bit different. You know, you don't want to jeopardize the airplane. If you're uncomfortable landing, let's say the winds are 45 knots direct crosswind. If you can't, you know, if you're not comfortable doing it, don't risk the aircraft, the safety of your passengers. That is something then you would be able to describe. Like, look, I've never done a 45 knot direct crosswind. This aircraft has only demonstrated crosswind landings successful of up to 38 knots. Who am I to say I can do it at 45? So it's much better to defend that situation than to put it off the runway or put it between the edge lights and the dirt and then have to explain to the company why you took out 372 edge lights. You know, it's harder to explain that than it is to say, yeah, I wasn't comfortable landing at a 45 knot direct crosswind. You ever fly to Columbia? I do, man. I've flown to Columbia many times. At Denver, or let's see, December, I spent most of my month flying in Colombia and South America. Whole different ball game down there, man. Whole different ball game. Would you be able to fly an FLS approach if ILS is not available? Simon, yeah, if you've got the FLS, FMS too. That, you know, there's, let me rephrase that. I say yes, but again, it's going to be company specific depending on your SOP and your operating specifications of what they will allow. You know, theoretically, I could just say, yeah, the airplane can do it, so yes, you could do it. But as far as real world is concerned, all of that stuff is very technical and will depend upon your airline's SOP and procedures. Because they may have something that limits you from doing something the airplane can totally do just fine. For instance, you know, when I worked at the regional airlines, the Embraer could do a Cat 3, but we were limited to Cat 2 only, you know. So it just depends. Did you like it? I'm actually from Colombia, and a lot of friends here from Colombia watch your stream. Juan, well, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, I love it, man. Let's see. So I was in Bogota. I was in Medellin. I was in... gosh, there's one more that I went to. Bogota, Medellin... Cartagena? Yeah, Cartagena was there. So I hit them all up, man. I hit all three of those airports up multiple times in the month of December. But yeah, I enjoy it. You definitely have to be on your A game. I had a pretty, I wouldn't say sketchy, but I definitely had a high blood pressure moment. I added a few gray hairs on an approach into Medellin, middle of December there. It was pretty gnarly. I'm going to be talking about it here on the podcast, which I started recording. You know, I don't even want to say I'm behind. I'm going to put the podcast out when I have the time and get them out, but I've already started recording on it. If you're wondering what the podcasts are, I haven't put one out in a while, but I'm going to try to start doing it more often now. And I'm not going to put a time limit on when they release, but essentially I talk about sim things, and then I give you guys experiences that I have. And the newest part of the podcast, which is coming up, which I just recorded, is tips for being a good blank. And I've got two options. You get one for each podcast, but tips for being a good first officer and tips for being a good student pilot. So I give you one of each in the podcast. I think it's a lot of fun. I've been keeping track of things. Oh my goodness, hold on. Can we just take a look at that mountain in the background? How good is that look? Hit the like button for that. But I've been taking notes of things that really make my life easier as far as the, you know, working with FOs, and things that really make my life harder. And then I'm going to pass them along to you guys in the podcast, because I know a lot of you guys are actual pilots, and you're either working on becoming an airline pilot or you're a flight student right now. So I do like doing that stuff. Looking forward to flying the Phoenix into Medellin. Pretty good freeway airport scenery too. Blue Bear. Yes, I think my first, well, I don't want to say my first flight, but I've been wanting to do some Columbia stuff, and I didn't even know that XP72 was doing a bunch of Columbia streams, well, like last week, and I was able to catch some of him in Microsoft. But yeah, he did a lot of good flights down there, and it looked absolutely gorgeous. I want to do a couple things with the Phoenix. I want to do the what is it, the San Jose Circle? No. Yeah, San Jose, Costa Rica. We're going to do the Cirrus visual. So we're going to do the circling approach. That thing, if you guys haven't done it, I did a stream. Check it out. I think it was the MROC. I think it was called MROC approach or something like that on my live streams. If you haven't seen that stream, just skip forward to the landing, because it is a gnarly circling approach. You shoot an ILS down to about minimums, and you break off, and you do a circling approach into rising terrain. Super challenging, super fun. But I want to do that in Microsoft Flight Sim with that scenery. I also want to do Medellin. in Microsoft Flight Sim, and also Bogota. Bogota is pretty cool. Bogota is not super challenging. As long as you're on top of the airplane, you are flying into a bowl, and you know, when the airplane breaks, then it's very challenging. But with everything working, Bogota is not too challenging. I'd say Medellin is definitely a little bit more challenging, and that Cirrus visual into MROC is something like none other. The first time I did that approach, I was like, is this for real? Am I really doing this right now? Like, I was actually thinking, am I actually doing this right now? Like, that was going through my mind, because the first time I ever did it, I couldn't believe it. But it's a lot of fun. So if you want to see that stuff, guys, make sure you subscribe, notifications on, because I don't know when that stream will happen, but when that Phoenix drops, we're going to be doing a lot of Microsoft flying. Hudson, you passed your PPL check right on Sunday. Hudson, well, congratulations, sir. Congratulations, man. That's awesome news. Andrew, what's going on, man? Have you ever flown the River Visual DCA? Many times, kid named Kenny, many times. Matter of fact, the first time that I flew that, the first time I ever flew the River Visual in the DCA, I had a Fed on the jump seat, and I was getting a line check. So, yeah. But yes, I've done it many times. All right, we're 9.5 to 9,000. We're through 10. Let's go ahead and get the lights on. Ding the flight attendants. Let them know we're coming. Let's get a little bit more sound juice going on here. Bring those up. Bring that up to about 45%. We're doing an announcement. Juan, you'll be here for the streams. Awesome. Have you ever flown into K-Mem? Oh, yeah, Memphis? Yes, seen all the FedEx planes? You betcha. Oh, Potato, yeah. Microsoft, I kind of feel like I could have done much more on the Asia tour of flying in Microsoft. I just didn't have Microsoft Flight Sim updated, and I didn't have the space. But now that I got it all on its own SSD, I've got the space to fly it. In fact, I was going to fly it today, but then I wanted to do this Frontier flight, so we might take off at Aparo in Microsoft Flight Sim. Starting my CFI Thursday. Any tips, Mr. Mullen? Tips for starting your CFI? Be ready to read, and remember to, let's see, how do I say this? Don't get in over your head as far as constantly reading, because there's going to be so much you have to learn, because you think you know it all right now because you're just probably a commercial pilot, you're really confident in your flying ability. But I tell you what, you will not be. The smartest I ever was as a pilot was when I got my CFI, because you think you know maneuvers, you think you know aerodynamics, but until you have to teach it, that's when you really, really know it. So there's going to be a lot of information that you got to read, and just remember to pace yourself, because a lot of times I'd see guys, when I was teaching CFI students, I'd see them, start to get burnt out and trying to do too much at once. I'd be like, look, man, you need to take the day off. Don't read anything today. And so remember to pace yourself. But it's a lot of fun. You're going to love it. All right, we're 7.3 descending. Let's go ahead and make a radio call here. I heard someone on the radio. Portland traffic, Frontier 357. We're just over MZ, setting up for a downwind for 10 right into Portland traffic. 7.2, we're on the descent. And ice not detected, I know, but if I turn it off, I'm afraid we'll pull the Sim Aviator and go into the ground here. Which plugins? Let's see. All I'm using for X-Plane is exclamation point Sky. It's an X-Vision preset. That's what I'm running. All right, so we are hand flying this approach. We're going to break off. We'll self-vector ourselves over to Herein. Herein is at 3,100 feet. I'm going to go ahead and dial this back to 210 knots. We'll go ahead and activate and confirm the approach phase at this point. We're config full. We're going to do manual brakes, full flaps. There's VFE next to -10, flaps 1. Aparo to Kathmandu in Microsoft Flight Sim? Ooh, I don't know if the RNP approach works, Lauren. I might have to check that out. Kathmandu is going the wrong way though. We gotta get back. We gotta go eastbound. All right, there is at or above 5. So I'm gonna just go ahead and pull for open descent now. Thrust idle, open descent, 5,000 is blue. We're getting ready to descend into the soup. Hello from Australia or Austin. Love your stream. Gary Evans, thanks for tuning in. Ever flown into Cape Penis? Yes, I have. Pensacola, many times. All right, we're gonna do a 180 on the speed here. I'll slow it down. Australia. There we go. I kind of figured. Welcome aboard, man. Welcome. All right, there's VFE next to -10. Flaps 2.
Is it an issue of clearing snow? 8 is called 1400 over 3 SM mod I spell it, mod snow, mist. Well within mins? Is it issue of keeping buoys and taxiways clear? Max demonstrated snow on the runway for 300.
Papa Taylor, thanks for the $1 tip, man. It is called for 14. So it's not a visibility thing, but with moderate ice pellets, snow, and mist, it might have been an issue for icing on the ground. Again, without actually being there, it's very, very hard to tell what would cause the flight to cancel. There could be an MEL, there could be something limiting on the airplane that prevents them from doing an approach. So without actually being in the airplane with you, being in the cockpit, I wouldn't be able to tell you why it canceled. But a moderate ice pellets and snow, you're starting to get a little sketchy because you got to worry about ice accumulation on the runway. Most difficult approach I've done in real life. I'd say it was probably the Cyrus Visual, the MROC. That's pretty challenging because if you're not ready for it, this could be pretty challenging. All right, so there's a nut. We're going to go ahead and descend now to 3,100. Have you ever had any bad encounters on frequency in terms of behavior or terminology? Oh yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it happen. I've seen, guys talking out or stuff that doesn't need to be said. Look at those engines, though. But yeah, I've heard it and seen it on the radio. I think we all have at some point. Be an airline pilot long enough, you're going to hear things on the radio that are like, "Just really? You're a professional?" They shut down all passenger traffic into CVG during the ice storm. We're still chipping the ice off our back porch. Well, there you go. Any chance of trying the 340 Toliss? Tried them yesterday and I kept on burying the landing gear. Let's see how you fly that up. You know what? We haven't been in the 340 in a long time. We got to pull out the 340 here soon. I'm going to keep that in mind. I'm going to keep that in mind, Meg, for sure. I missed the 340. All right, we're going to pull heading. Come left, heading 220. As an actual pilot, which is more accurate, flight sim or X-plane? At the moment, I'm going to say X-plane just because of the modules. What makes it accurate is the airplanes that you have available to fly. Ooh, that's Carda. That's Carda. That's the engine man himself. All right, let's go ahead and go direct. Herein. Insert. 3,100. Frontier 57. 357. Cleared present precision direct. Herein. Maintain 3,100 tel established. Cleared ILS 10 right approach. All right, 3,100 tel established. Cleared ILS 10 right approach for Frontier Flight 357. Cat 3 dual autopilot 1 plus blue glide slope blue low blue. We are cleared approach. We're not going to have any tower clearance, so that's coming on. Portland traffic at Frontier Flight 357. We're about 4 miles from Herein, joining the final for 10 right, Portland. A 340 at a Pero. Oh my word. I wonder if we could get out of there in a 340. Oh, we should turn the LS push buttons on. All these fake pilots here on YouTube. LS push buttons are on. 3100. We're looking good. 180 knots. We are flaps 2. We're looking good. Let me make sure this is set up right here. Cool. And we'll leave the takeoff and landing cam off for just a few more minutes. Scorpion, you'll have to watch the stream again from the start later on. Just starting to work. Absolutely, Scorpion. We talked a lot about mergers and acquisitions, man. Am I streaming the VATSIM CTL on Saturday? No, I am not. I don't think I will be streaming Saturday. I'm actually, I'm fishing the tournament on Saturday. All right, Lokestar. Glide slopes alive. Localizer alive. Glide slope star. Go around altitude is 5,000. Ground altitude set 5,000 blue. You bet, Chase. You bet. Did I update to the newest 321? Thank you, Flight Force, for the $5 dono. Yes, sir, I did indeed. This is the newest Toliss 321 update. Glide slope low, hand flow and autopilot's coming on, coming off. Takeoff and landing cam is coming up. We'll go ahead and disconnect. Oh no, I did the same thing. I triggered a... There we go. You guys want to see it hand flowing. Let's go ahead and manage speed. Thank you, Flight Force, for the $5. I appreciate it. This is the newest version of the Toliss with the e-rudder option. All right, let's go gear down. 2,000 feet above touchdown. A little bit early there, but since it's a hand-flown Cat 2, no harm, no foul in configuring a little bit early here. VFE next minus 10, flaps 3. A little bit of tailwind going on here. What's up with that? Definitely a little bit early on the configuration, but that's right. Flaps full. Oh, go ahead and do that. Oh, we forgot the cabin signs. Never done that in real life. Jeez. Totally fake pilot. Ooh! That's no bueno. Hour. That's what happens when you hand fly. You forget to do things. Alright, we're back on it. A little bit low, correcting. I was really hoping the Viz would be worse. It was earlier. Alright, we're back on speed now on the slope. I feel really high, but I guess we're okay. Man, it was supposed to be socked in. Team Vodka. What's up, man? Welcome. A little bit of quartering tailwind here. Not too bueno. Stable. Clear line. Oh, here we go. Here comes our nice fog. It's 2 miles in mist right now, so that's about right. Quartering tailwind, worst possible landing speed and direction. Right off between the tail and the wingtip. You get that quartering tailwind like that, worst possible wind condition for landing. A little bit high, correcting. Land green. Well, autopilot's off, so we wouldn't say that. In sight, landing.
$100 above. Minimum. 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard. 10.
Whoa, with the balloon there. I really wanted to get a butter. What? We ballooned it. We ballooned it, and then plonked it. $70 knots. 245, huh?
Portland traffic, Spur is 1990, turning final. We are 16 miles at Portland traffic.
Whoa, a little bit faster for that turn. We just turned everybody in their seats. Oh, we were supposed to turn left. Oh, shoot. All right, let's come back to the left here. I forgot we're landing on 10 right. Portland traffic. Frontier 357, we're clear of 10 right. We're going to be holding short to cross runways here at Portland. We're supposed to turn left. My buns aren't buttered. No butter on that one, my friends. No butter on that one. Let's go ahead and clean it up now. Bring you guys back in here. Some Tokyo drifting going on. Yeah. I have to keep moving my microphone out of the way. All right, so how are we going to get back to the gate? Let's go 10-9 here. We need to cross at the end and take Bravo down. Bravo 6 Tango to the terminal. So we got to do a little taxi here. Let's go ahead and turn off these lights too. Was that the ground effect? No, I think I just kind of overflared. We'll see it in the replay. Thank you, Luke. Take care, bud. All right, let's check the traffic here. 10 right. Oh, he's on short final, so we'll go ahead and hold short. Let's go ahead and see if we can find him. That's Carda on landing, right?
Traffic, Spurwing is 1990. We're established in ILS, runway 26 right. We're 10 miles final.
Oh, 26 right? Is he? I think he's landing on the wrong runway. There's somebody on final right here. There he is. Let's see. Oh, we got to see the velocity update on the touchdown here for this guy. And then we'll cross the runway.
Apologies. Incorrect. I'm at 10 right. 10 right there for Spurwing 1990.
I thought I was high. Good grief. Ooh. That was a oh shoot approach. There we go. Carda's number 2 on approach. Raja, let's see. We have he's still out there. Let's pull up and hold short, then we'll see his landing. Man, these sounds are still 10 for 10 on the CFM. In real life, do you automatically hold short of the ILS critical area? Only if it is in the ATIS and if ATC instructs. Now, if they're doing ILS approaches, you know, there's nothing wrong with querying ATC and asking them. But it'll be in the ATIS too if they want you to hold short of that. All right, where's Carda at? We got to watch this approach. He should be about 5 miles or so. Everybody's on final today. You can just do landing cam here. XP, what's going on, man? 24-month membership. Thank you, dude. He says, nice stream, Captain. Very informative and nice. Thank you, XP. I appreciate those kind words, man. Good to see you here, man. XP72, guys, go check him out if you haven't already. I was just talking about you, XP, about the Columbia flying you were doing on Microsoft Flight Sim. Looked absolutely awesome. Can't wait to try some of that stuff in the Phoenix. But thank you again for your support, XP. Chris, that's so illegal. Who was it? Is the Alaska pilot in the chat? I don't know if it was just a scenery issue, but he looked like he touched down on the same runway, just was a little bit high there. Yeah, in the words of XP, hey, 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 what's going on? I got to get myself one of those hats, XP. I'm going to order one of your hats here pretty soon. Do I ever suffer from burnout when going through training? 4 weeks before my written, I couldn't stand flying and wanted nothing to do with it. But once my written done, I was fine. Carter, absolutely, man. That is very real. Bringing up the burnout chat, and that's absolutely a real thing you have to be aware of. Don't feel like it's just you or you're not cut out for it because you are feeling that burnout. That's just normal, and it's just human nature, man. So glad you got through it. Here comes Carda. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Ooh. 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 Very nice. Good center line. Good center line. Nice sounds. Nice sounds.
Delta 2405, 10 miles out, runway 10 right.
Alright, I think we might be able to cross the runway at least. We'll have to see. We can't cross because Carda's still on it. Man, we're stuck here. This is what happens when you make the wrong turn off the runway. Nicely done, Carda. I think it's because he had IE engines on there. I can't land the CFMs, man. That's my excuse. My excuse is we got CFMs. All right, let's go ahead and cross. Cross it.
Wings 1990, we're clear of runway 10 right.
Portland traffic, Frontier flight 357. We're crossing 10 right. Taxi to terminal of Portland. We got to cross before that guy comes down. We should have plenty of time. I would turn all the lights on here in real life, but trying to steer with my yoke and mess with the overhead is just a little bit too challenging. All right, so he's clear. He's still out on final. We still got a minute. Let's go ahead and take it into the gate. Let's fire up the APU. We no longer need that. Toga across. Jeremy says that sometimes it's easy to beat yourself up because you're trying to do everything right and you seem to be learning slower than you like. That's absolutely correct, Jeremy. You're correct. Especially, you know, pilots and just certain people in particular. We are somewhat perfectionists. I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist, but yes, I do like to do things right. And if you're not learning at the speed of which you think you should be learning, you can definitely get burnt out from it as well. I'm feeling burnt out about studying, but I have the flying itch, so even though I don't feel like it, I know it'll benefit me in the long run, so I do it anyway. There you go. Sometimes, Peyton, we refer to that as grinding. Sometimes you just got to put your head down and grind. And in the aviation community or aviation world as a whole, that's going to ring true whether you're a pilot, a flight attendant. You know, you're going to get trips that you don't want to be on. And sometimes you just have to put your head down and say, I'm going to get through this trip and grind it out. So he's at the outer marker out there. We'll see if we can catch his landing here. We're going to kind of ghost ride it in. We'll go park next to Carda. Since Frontier is Spirit now, we'll go park next to the Spirit airplane. Where's this guy at? He should be pretty close. It's pretty. Oh, there he is. Oh, that looks good. Oh, yeah. A little bumpy. A little bumpy. I think that's him. Another 10 for 10 center line, though. Nicely done, Deltoid. Oh, I'm in the dirt. I love this scenery, though. Let's go park next to the Carda. We'll go ahead and shut down. We got a cool down here. We do. Did I start the APU? I did not. We'll get a little juice here. Bring it to idle. Yellow electric pump is on. Confirm 2. Confirm. Number 2 is coming down. All right, we will park at, what is this, Charlie 3? I don't taxi like this in real life, guys, I swear. It's just an X-plane thing. Once I get a tiller,
5, clear of active.
once I get a tiller, I'm going to make a taxi professional series. That way all you doubters will be silenced. All right, we'll go ahead and cure the taxi light. We're coming into the ramp. I got a marshaller out there. We're looking good. He's telling me to go left. I tell you right now, I need to continue to go this way. And right about now, I'm going to turn this way. That should be pretty close to center line. I think I'm a little crooked. Boop. Brake set. Seatbelt sign. APU is up. Number 1 is coming down. And we got a deltoid parking next to us. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. Ooh, we got a nice spool down. Ooh, there's one more Frontier flight on short final. One more Frontier flight on short final. And then we're going to hit the replay mode. Ooh, is that Frontier? It's MD-80. Working it down. Work it down. Little porpoise action. Not too bad. Not too bad. All right, we've got 2 engines shut down. We're not going to do the full shutdown checklist because we're going to hop into replay mode. Man, that was terrible marshalling. This dude was 10 for 10 failure on the marshalling. I'm not even on a spot. Like, not even near the center line. All right, let's watch the replay mode. All right, replay time. Let's back it up. We sat on the ground for like 5 minutes, so we got to back it way up here. Oh, that's not bad. Carda view. Here we go. Oh, Walker. That's what it was. Pixel 321. Yeah, I like that pixel. Yeah, right there. We almost had a perfect one. It's just a little much. And then we do a little plonk plonk. Oh, look at those CFMs opening up. The next stream is going to have to be IAEs, I promise. I think I can land the IAEs better. That's my excuse. Ooh, let's watch this one here. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. A bad taxier always blames his marshaller. Exactly, Aaron. I think I was a little late on the retard. You know what? Listen to this. I'll back it up. Now you can hear when I retard the throttles to idle. I bet if I retarded them a little bit sooner, we would have been fine. I think I had a little bit too much juice coming in here. Right? See, now I brought the throttles to idle. I was late. I was late on bringing those throttles to idle. Just a little too much juice coming in over the numbers there. All right, let's see how we did outside. That's exactly what it was. We left the power in. Just 3 seconds too long we left the power in. Next stream should be GECF34. No, Christian. We're not flying with A300? Douglas, I'm glad you like it, man. Cactus 1549, yes indeed. Flower pedal reversers. All right, here we go. Bring the power to idle now. Wee. I did what everybody else did on landing. That wasn't that bad. With definitely not a 770. Centerline 10 for 10. Look at the thrust reversers opening up. From the back, I will admit the flower pedal reversers look cooler. Yeah, we just flared it a little too much. A little too soon. Do I have speed here? Yeah, see? I am about 3 knots over VAP. I just got a little bit too much juice. I should be right at VAP, getting ready to touch down at VREF here. Little too much juice. Lower that nose. You don't even lower the nose. Just release that back pressure and hold it. All right. Wasn't my best landing, I know. Let's get the music playing. Let's get ready to get out of here. Yeah, just hold it. Too fast. About 3 knots too fast and about 3 seconds too late on the power reduction. But hey, we're down safely. It's a 321. We didn't hit the tail. I challenge anybody to land with the Pampers box that much on center line. Let's just focus on the center line, shall we? All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today on this stream. I know we talked a lot about mergers and acquisitions. We're going to talk more about it even on Friday. Tentatively here, we're going to be doing a VA stream, tentatively Friday. So if you're around, I would like your company. We'll probably be flying the V-Spirit again, since Spirit and Frontier are the hot topic of conversation in the current events of the world. So until next time, guys, stay safe, stay healthy. I'm V1. Y'all have a good rest of your Tuesday. We'll talk to you next time. See ya! Guys, welcome.